Zhou Hao was very happy today, because there was a rumor in the company that he was going to be promoted to the head of the finance department, and he would replace the finance department manager who had inexplicably resigned earlier. Thinking back to the few years he had worked so hard for, Zhou Hao felt very gratified. He had finally waited for this opportunity. The company that Zhou Hao worked for was called Yellowstone Group. It was a very famous large company in Shanghai, and even in the whole country. It mainly operated real estate, as well as many five-star hotels and supermarkets. There were more than 10,000 employees in the company. When Zhou Hao graduated from university, after a few twists and turns, he finally entered the Yellowstone Group's finance department as an accountant under the introduction of his friends. He knew very well that it was very rare to be able to work in a big company like Yellowstone Group. Therefore, he had always been conscientious and did not forget to give gifts to his superiors during the New Year and holidays. After 4 years of hard work, Zhou Hao finally got the company's attention, because the company made him start to come into contact with the company's hidden account. The so-called hidden account, as the name implied, was an account that couldn't be exposed. Zhou Hao knew that many companies had hidden accounts, and the larger the scale of the company, the more common the existence of hidden accounts. He also knew that hidden accounts violated the industry rules and were even illegal. However, Zhou Hao, who had been rolling around in Shanghai for many years, knew very well what losing his job meant. Therefore, he could only bite the bullet and participate in the production of secret account under the instructions of the company. With his outstanding financial ability, Zhou Hao did very well in those hidden accounts. Therefore, he was very soon rewarded by the company. He remembered that in the company just now, the manager's secretary, who was so arrogant, had changed her attitude and started to fawn on him. When he thought of this, Zhou Hao was inexplicably excited. The secretary's alluring figure appeared in front of his eyes. Zhou Hao even thought that after he became the department head one day, would he also be able to date her? However, although Zhou Hao was 26 years old this year, he was still a virgin. Even though he had a girlfriend who had been with him for 2 years, due to his busy work and the persistence of his girlfriend, Zhou Hao still did not cross that final line. Thinking of his girlfriend Xingying, Zhou Hao wanted to tell Xingying this good news so that she would be happy too. Without delay, Zhou Hao immediately bought a bottle of Great Wall Dry Red and happily took a taxi to Zheng Ying's rented house. Zhou Hao was still very proud of Xingying. She was a clerk in a foreign trading company. She was very beautiful and had a good figure. Zhou Hao had spent a lot of effort and buy countless roses to chase after her. If Zhang Ying knew that he was going to be promoted, she might agree to have sex with him. Zhou Hao laughed secretly in the back seat. Even the taxi driver in front of him looked at him with disdain. When he arrived at Zhang Ying's house, Zhou Hao straightened the collar of his suit and ruffled his hair. Then, he knocked on Zhang Ying's door. Strangely, the door opened after 2 minutes. Zhang Ying's face was still flushed red when she appeared at the door. Zhang Ying was a little surprised and panicked when she saw Zhou Hao. "How? Why are you here so late?" Zhou Hao waved the red wine in his hand. "There's great news. I specially came to share it with you." After saying that, he pushed Zhang Ying into the room. Zhang Ying poured Zhou Hao a glass of hot water and looked at her room absent-mindedly. Then she said to Zhou Hao, "What good news?" "I told you. I still have to go to work tomorrow. I can't stay too late with you." Zhou Hao poured out the hot water and poured his red wine into the glass. He said to Zhang Ying, "Zhang Ying, do you know? I am going to be promoted. I am going to be promoted to the finance director of our company." He drained the glass of red wine in one gulp and stood up to hug Zhang Ying. "When I become the finance director of the company, my salary will also increase. Then in 2 or 3 years, we don't need to live in the rented house anymore, and we can have our own apartment. Haha, we will have our own apartment in Shanghai. Zhang Ying, are you happy? When the time comes, I will marry you. You don't have to go out to work anymore. Just wholeheartedly be Mrs. Zhou." He could not wait to fantasize about his and Zhang Ying's beautiful future. However, Zhang Ying was not as happy as Zhou Hao imagined. She just said faintly, "Really? That would be great." "What's wrong, Zhang Ying? Are you unhappy?" Zhou Hao looked at Zhang Ying. "Didn't you always want to have your own apartment in Shanghai?" "How, even if you can buy your own apartment," Zhang Ying said inside. "But what kind of apartment can you buy? A small one that was not even 100 square meters? Then can we still have children?" Without waiting for Zhou Hao to speak, she turned her head and said, "Hao, I think we should break up." Zhou Hao, who was originally full of joy, suddenly had cold water burst out of his head by Zhang Ying. "Why?" He grabbed Zhang Ying's shoulder. "Zhang Ying, why did you suddenly say we broke up?" "Ha, I know. Are you joking? You must be joking with me." Zhang Ying impatiently pushed Zhou Hao's hand away. "I'm not joking. I'm serious. How? We're not suitable. Let's break up. Why not suitable? Am I not good enough for you? Did I do something wrong? Zhou Hao did not know what to do. He nervously said to Zheng Ying, I will correct it. Zheng Ying, I really like you. I will promise you anything you want to do. Okay? How? Don't be like this, okay? Suddenly, Zhou Hao saw an urn on the coffee table, and there were 2 cigarette butts on it. Suddenly, his heart was covered with a layer of haze. Because he and Zheng Ying did not smoke. Who is it? Who is here? Get out here. Zhou Hao roared hysterically. Zheng Ying's expression changed, and she quickly pulled Zhou Hao back. How? What are you doing? There are only the 2 of us here. Are you crazy? Zhou Hao pushed Zheng Ying away. He walked around the hall twice, and then locked his eyes on Zheng Ying's room. When he was about to walk to Zheng Ying's room, the door opened and a man walked out of the room. This man was very handsome. Although he was already 40 years old, his maturity and steadiness added to his charm. However, when Zhou Hao saw this man, he was stunned because he knew this man. This man was called Huang Wank, the chairman of Yellowstone Group, the boss of Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao had only seen this boss a few times at the company's anniversary gala. He never thought that he would see his boss at his own girlfriend's home. How could it be? Zhou Hao murmured. Compared to Zhou Hao, who was at a loss, Huang Wank was much calmer. He showed a kind smile to Zhou Hao and said, Hello, Zhou Hao? He was friendly to him, just as he was friendly to his employees at the Yellowstone Group's anniversary gala. However, Zhou Hao felt that his smile was full of ridicule and was very ferocious. Zheng Ying, you and him. Zhou Hao turned around and looked at Zheng Ying. Zheng Ying saw that her love affairs had been discovered, then directly confessed to her unfaithfulness. Wank and I met 4 months ago. She turned her face away from Zhou Hao and said, I didn't want to tell you so quickly, but I have Wank's child. These words were like a sharp sword, piercing into Zhou Hao's heart mercilessly. He still remembered that she had said that she would only give herself to Zhou Hao on the night of her wedding. Zhou Hao believed her, and he had been longing for their wedding because of her words. However, she had only known Huang Wank for 4 months, and she even had his child. You lied to me. Zhou Hao roared at Zheng Ying like a wounded beast. Zhou Hao, you are going to be promoted to the finance director of the company. Huang Wank's voice made Zhou Hao tremble. He looked at Huang Wank and then Zheng Ying. A terrible thought suddenly appeared in his heart. It seemed that the reason why he could be promoted was also because of Zheng Ying. Huang Wank continued, If you are willing to, I can promote you to be the sales manager of the company. Your annual salary is 1 million yuan. 3. Although Huang Wank's suggestion was full of temptation, to Zhou Hao, it was more like charity. It was as if he was saying, I took your woman away, so I'm giving you a promotion as compensation. Zhou Hao pushed Huang Wank to the ground and grabbed his neck tightly. I'm going to kill you. Zhou Hao, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Let go of him. Zheng Ying rushed over and grabbed Zhou Hao's arm, trying to pull him away from Huang Wank. But how could her strength compare to Zhou Hao, who was in a state of fury? I will kill you. Zhou Hao had completely lost his mind. He gritted his teeth in an unusually ferocious manner. His hands, which were pinching Huang Wank's neck, also exerted more strength. Huang Wank couldn't say anything. His face slowly turned purple. He would suffocate to death after a while. Zhou Hao collapsed softly. Zheng Ying was still holding the remaining half of the vase in a daze. Huang Wank touched his neck and sat up coughing violently. Zheng Ying immediately threw down the vase and helped him up. She said nervously, Wank, are you all right? D*MN. He almost killed me. Huang Wank kicked Zhou Hao hard, but Zhou Hao was so dizzy that he could not fight back. Huang Wank turned around and walked into the kitchen. When he came out again, there was a long and sharp kitchen knife in his hand. Zheng Ying immediately panicked when she saw it. Wank, what do you want to do? I don't want him to continue pestering you. I'll kill him. Huang Wank's mature and handsome face showed a fierce look. Besides, he knows about my company's secret account, so keeping him alive is also a disaster. Zhou Hao, who was lying on the ground, knew that he was in a very dangerous situation. However, because of the heavy blow to his head, he lost all his strength and even his consciousness was somewhat blurry. He could only hope that Zheng Ying would stop Huang Wank. However, what Zhou Hao did not expect was that Zheng Ying actually did not stop Huang Wank. Instead, after hesitating for a moment, she said to Huang Wank, Then how do we escape? It's very simple. We will making this place looking like a robbery spot. Then, I will find a few people to make an alibi for us. But he doesn't have my keys, so why would he be at my home? Huang Wank smiled. What's so difficult about that? Just put the keys in his pocket and say that he already has your keys. Anyway, no one will doubt you. Zheng pondered for a moment and nodded. When she lowered her head, she saw Zhou Hao's desperate and resentful eyes. Don't blame me. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for not knowing what's good for you. Also, before you die, I'll give you a piece of advice that love is not bread, and it cannot represent everything. After saying that, she turned around and no longer looked at Zhou Hao. Huang Wank also smiled at Zhou Hao. After you go to hell, don't forget that I killed you. After that, he suddenly swung his kitchen knife and stabbed into Zhou Hao's heart. Dark red blood spurted out and dyed Zhou Hao's vision red. Zhou Hao didn't know whether he was dead or not. If he wasn't, why couldn't he move his body? And why didn't he feel anything at all? But if he was dead, how could he still have consciousness? He could even see the hilt of the knife that was exposed to his chest, and he could also see Huang Wank and Zhang Ying turning this place into a robbery spot. However, his consciousness was also becoming more and more blurry. Finally, when Huang Wank and Zhang Ying finished arranging everything and were about to leave, Zhou Hao looked at their backs and only had one thought in his heart. Even if I am a ghost, I will not let you off. After that, he blacked out with the sound of the door closing and completely lost consciousness. Get out of my way. Please return the money to me. This is Xiao Hao's tuition this year. Please. A fierce quarrel outside woke Zhou Hao up in a daze. What Zhou Hao saw was a slightly moldy ceiling. Furthermore, this moldy ceiling looked so familiar. Zhou Hao sat up from the bed immediately and frowned deeply. Wasn't he dead? Huang Wank's ferocious face and Zheng Ying's ruthless eyes were still vivid in Zhou Hao's mind. A deep-rooted hatred and resentment also emerged in his heart. Zhou Hao looked around and found that he was in a small room that was not even 10 square meters. There were some miscellaneous items on the other side of the room, and a simple wooden bed and an old desk on this side. A row of textbooks and reference books were arranged neatly on the desk. Isn't this my room? Looking at the familiar yet strange scene around him, Zhou Hao felt dizzy. At this moment, Zhou Hao saw the calendar on the wall. Today is October 9th, 1996? The date on the calendar made Zhou Hao jump up. How is this possible? Could it be that I have been reborn? Zhou Hao pinched his face hard. He felt a burst of pain before he confirmed that it was not a dream. After Zhou Hao slowly calmed down, he became more and more excited. Zhou Hao studied in the Economic Management Department at the university. He had analyzed the financial markets in China and around the world. The theme of his graduation project was the trend and cause of the financial markets in China and the world in the past 15 years. Therefore, he was very familiar with the trend of the financial markets in China and the world in the past 15 years. When Zhou Hao was doing deep research on those stocks whose prices were full of ups and downs at his graduation design, he often thought that if he could return to the past to invest in these shares, it would be very easy for him to become a billionaire. Zhou Hao did not expect that this matter would really come true now. Moreover, 1996 is a year of significance in the short 6 years of the development of the emerging securities market in China. This year, inflation disappeared and the interest rate of banks decreased. Since March, the stock market had risen by a large margin. All year, there was a trend of unilateral growth. Until the crazy increase at the end of the year, even the management's 12 gold medals were unable to stop the stock market from surging. Only when the People's Daily's special commentator article appeared did the stock market stop. The large stock market had 2 consecutive breakdowns, and investors regained their rationality. As long as he had capital, Zhou Hao had absolute confidence in accumulating his first bucket of gold in this year. Huang Wank, Zheng Ying, just you wait. I will find you. When Zhou Hao thought of Huang Wank and Zheng Ying, he gritted his teeth, showing an angry expression. Zhou Hao knew that Yellowstone Group had become a big real estate company in 1996. He needed to accumulate enough strength to deal with Huang Wank. And in 1996, Zhou Hao should still be in his second year of junior high school. Thinking of this, Zhou Hao got off the bed and went to the desk. He saw a textbook for the first semester of junior high school on the desk, which confirmed his thoughts. At this moment, the sound of breaking glass came from outside, accompanied by a mournful cry, "Don't take this money away. I'm begging you. It is Xiao Hao's tuition." Then there was a rough male voice. "Don't stop me from getting rich. When I win the money back, this tuition fee is nothing." When Zhou Hao heard these two voices, his entire body trembled, because these voices were too familiar but also too unfamiliar to him. Those were his parents. Zhou Hao's mother, Yin Tong, was a sorrowful woman. When she was young, she was deceived by Zhou Hao's father, Zhou Liren, and was even pregnant with his child. Yin Tong could only marry Zhou Hao's father as a matter of course. However, Zhou Hao's father was a gambling addict. At first, he could barely support his family by doing some small business. Later on, All the money of the family was lost by Zhou Hao's father. He kept asking Zhou Hao's mother for money, but Zhou Hao's mother did not agree. Thereupon he beat up her. Zhou Hao's father never did his duty as a father to Zhou Hao. He did not care about Zhou Hao's life or his studies. Zhou Hao's mother worked as a sanitation worker on the street during the day and washed dishes in a big restaurant at night. Only then did she manage to maintain her family's livelihood. Years of hard work made Zhou Hao's mother have a head full of white hair before she was 40. The reason Zhou Hao was able to become an adult was all because of Zhou Hao's mother, Yin Tong. Therefore, Zhou Hao had always worked very hard to study. He swore that if accomplished something by learning in the future, he would be filial to his mother. However, when Zhou Hao was in his second year of university, his mother died of liver cancer due to overwork. When Zhou Hao wanted to do his filial duty to her mother, his mother passed away. This was the most painful thing in his life. When Zhou Hao thought of his mother's kind and hardworking face, he felt a deep sorrow. Zhou Hao hurriedly opened the door and rushed into the hall. He saw that the hall was filled with fragments of teacups and teapots, and his mother was kneeling on the floor next to the dining table. His mother was sobbing, but Zhou Hao's father, Zhou Liren, was nowhere to be seen. Mom! When Zhou Hao saw his mother's face, which he had not seen for a long time, he was finally sure that he had been reborn. Zhou Hao's hot tears flowed out along with his affectionate call. Seeing Zhou Hao appear beside her, Yin Tong hurriedly raised her hand to wipe away the tears at the corners of her eyes. She forced a smile and said, Xiao Hao, why did you come out? You have a cold, so you need to rest more. Mom! Zhou Hao could not hold it in anymore. He held Yin Tong tightly in his arms. Now, Zhou Hao, who was 14 years old, was already more than 1.6 meters tall. He was even taller than Yin Tong. But to Zhou Hao, it had been a long time since he felt his mother's embrace. Looking at her son who was crying, Yin Tong remembered that she could not give her son a good life, and her husband did not fulfill her expectations. At the thought of this, Yin Tong's heart was filled with sorrow for a moment. However, Yin Tong still acted very strong in front of her son. She gently stroked her son's back and said gently, It's fine. Stop crying, my Xiao Hao. Did someone bully you? Tell Mom. Zhou Hao shook his head and saw the bruise on the left corner of Yin Tong's eye. Mom, did Zhou Liren hit you again? No. Mom accidentally hit my head. Yin Tong still wanted to maintain Zhou Liren's image as a father in front of her son. However, Yin Tong saw Zhou Hao gritting his teeth. His eyes were full of hatred. Mom, Zhou Liren is not worthy to be your husband, and he is not worthy to be my father. Mom, why don't you divorce him? Otherwise, he will keep asking you for money and hit you. How can you say that about him? He is your father after all. Yin Tong showed a reproachful look to Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao sighed in his heart. Although Zhou Liren was not a good man, his wife was a very traditional woman. She had always been sticking to those bondages toward women by traditional Chinese values. Until the time she died of illness, she still maintained Mrs. Zhou's identity. Zhou Hao also knew that he could not convince his mother at the moment, so he could only give up temporarily. Zhou Hao remembered that he was reborn, which meant that he had a second life. He said firmly to Yin Tong, Mom, don't worry. I won't let you suffer anymore. I will let you live a good life. Yin Tong did not know the reason and only thought that Zhou Hao was comforting her. She was also very touched in her heart. After that, they two cleaned up the mess in the hall together. Yin Tong said, By the way, Zhou Liren took away your tuition and our family did not have any money. What should we do? When Zhou Hao heard this, he was also very distressed. This was indeed a problem. Furthermore, although Zhou Hao knew the trend of the stock market in the future, if he wanted to invest, he still needed capital. Currently, the situation in the family could only barely maintain the life of Zhou Hao and his mother this month. If we can't find other solutions, let's borrow from eldest uncle, Zhou Hao said in a deep voice. Hearing Zhou Hao's words, Yin Tong revealed a troubled expression. Zhou Hao also knew what his mother was anxious about. Eldest uncle was in the hardware business, and he already had a few million worth of assets. He was one of the richest men in Zhou Hao's village. However, eldest uncle's family was very snobbish. They had always looked down on Zhou Hao's family. Therefore, after Zhou Hao graduated and became independent, he never went to his eldest uncle's family. Besides, we haven't paid off the money we borrowed earlier. Yin Tong sighed. Zhou Hao said, Mom, I will go with you this time. Furthermore, this is the last time we borrow money from eldest uncle. Yin Tong looked at Zhou Hao's determined expression, but she sighed in her heart. It did not matter that she was looked down upon by others, but she did not want her son to be looked down upon by others. Suddenly, Yin Tong noticed that Zhou Hao was different from before. Xiao Hao, why does I feel that you have changed? Zhou Hao was shocked when he heard that. Where did I change? You have become mature. Yin Tong smiled. The wrinkles that were squeezed out from her heavy life also relaxed. No matter how much I change, I am still your son, Zhou Hao said with a smile. After that, Yin Tong went to prepare dinner, while Zhou Hao went to the balcony and looked at the bustling streets below. This was a city called Xiang City in Guangdong. It was adjacent to the capital of Guangdong, Guangzhou, but it was not as prosperous as Guangzhou. Zhou Hao had only gone to Shanghai when he went to college. He worked there and ended his young life there. Zhou Hao's family originally lived in Zhou Village. In order to let Zhou Hao study in a better school, Yin Tong had to put in a lot of effort to move to this 30-square-meter apartment in the city. Zhou Hao looked at the bustling streets below and immersed himself in his memory. Zhou Hao knew that Xiang City would develop very quickly in the next few years. He also knew the direction of Xiang City's development. Perhaps, Zhou Hao could use this opportunity to accumulate his capital. While Zhou Hao was still immersed in his development plan, someone knocked on the door next to him. Zhou Hao was slightly shocked, then he opened the door. At the same time, he thought, who could it be? Then, Zhou Hao saw a beautiful girl with short hair standing at the door. She wore a white t-shirt and yellow shorts. This girl was also 14 or 15 years old, just like Zhou Hao. She was very cute, her big eyes like gems. However, her face was still very young. Looking at this girl, Zhou Hao was stunned and couldn't say a word. Zhou Hao, what happened to you? You look weird. The girl's voice was very pleasant to the ears. It was clear and crisp like a jade bead falling onto a plate. It wasn't that Zhou Hao didn't know this girl. On the contrary, her position in Zhou Hao's heart was too important. Her name was Wang Shijuan. She lived opposite of Zhou Hao with her mother and brother. She grew up with Zhou Hao and could be considered childhood sweethearts. But now in 1996, Wang Shijuan had yet to reveal her beauty. But Zhou Hao knew that after she grew up, Wang Shijuan was so beautiful that it could take one's heart and soul. Even Zheng Ying was not as beautiful as her. However, when Wang Shijuan was 19, she married into Hong Kong. The night before Wang Shijuan left, she had come to find Zhou Hao. She said sadly that she actually liked Zhou Hao. But because Zhou Hao had a heavy life pressure, and he had to take into account his studies, he did not say anything to Wang Shijuan. It was only when Wang Shijuan told him what was on her mind that Zhou Hao was enveloped in great sorrow. However, it was already too late by then. So many years later, Zhou Hao was still filled with regret. He hated why he did not pay much attention to Wang Shijuan back then. If that was the case, he would have a different ending in the future. Now that Zhou Hao saw Wang Shijuan's still young and inexperienced face, he was very excited. He tried hard not to show it on his face. Instead, he asked with a smile, "Why are you here?" "I just heard that your home was very noisy," Wang Shijuan said. "Are you all right?" Zhou Hao shook his head. He could feel Wang Shijuan's concern for him and could not help but touch Wang Shijuan's round face. "Thank you for your concern." Zhou Hao's sudden action made Wang Shijuan at a loss. Her face was also red and stammered. You're welcome," Wang Shijuan said and turned around, running towards her home in a panic. Zhou Hao affectionately looked at Wang Shijuan's back and said in his heart, "This time, I will not let you go again." The next day was Sunday. Zhou Hao and Yin Tong went to Big Uncle Zhou Lichang's house together. Zhou Lichang built a 3-story high villa in Zhou Village. Most of the people in Zhou Village lived in tile houses. His house was very conspicuous in Zhou Village. Zhou Lichang lived with his wife, Su Yongwei, and a pair of children. Beside the house was a black Guangzhou's Toyota. When the villagers passed by, they could not help but look at it. Before coming here, Yin Tong even specially spent more than 50 renminbi to buy a basket of fruits. "It's you guys. Why did you suddenly remember to come and visit us?" When Su Yongwei opened the door and saw the mother and son, her eyes revealed a very obvious disdain. She did not hide anything at all, making Yin Tong, who was already somewhat restrained in front of the door, feel even more embarrassed. Because Su Yongwei's skin was well-maintained and did not have to worry about food and clothing, Su Yongwei, who was slightly older than Yin Tong, looked to be more than 10 years younger than Yin Tong. After many years, seeing Su Yongwei's snobbish face again, Zhou Hao laughed in his heart. She really did not change at all. "Hello, sister-in-law." Yin Tong smiled at Su Yongwei. "Is Ji Hao and Xian all right?" She was talking about Su Yongwei's son and daughter, Zhou Jihao and Zhou Xinqi. They were younger than Zhou Hao by a few years and were still in primary school. "They're fine. You are really thoughtful. Come in and have a seat." Su Yongwei impatiently invited Zhou Hao and Yin Tong into the house. Compared to the place where Zhou Hao and his mother lived, Zhou Lichang's house was very luxurious. There was a leather sofa and a big TV set. Yin Tong was very nervous when she entered the house. She was afraid that she would dirty the house. She didn't even know where to put her hands. When they entered the spacious hall, Zhou Hao saw his cousin Zhou Zhihao playing games in high spirits. His cousin Zhou Xinxin was playing her kitty doll on the sofa. When the two siblings saw Zhou Hao and Yin Tong enter, they did not have any intention of paying attention to them. They did not even look at Zhou Hao and Yin Tong. Zhou Hao looked at the insufferably arrogant siblings and sneered in his heart. These two weren't good people since they were young. When they grew up, they became even more fierce. Zhou Zhihao learned to gamble before graduating from high school. Zhou Xinxin was not any better than him. After she grew up, she was sent to America by Zhou Lichang. He heard that she had contracted AIDS due to excessive sex there. Take a seat. Su Yongwei let Zhou Hao and Yin Tong sit in the dining hall over there, but she did not have the slightest intention of reprimanding her children for their rudeness. Zhou Hao thought that the reason why Zhou Zhihao and Zhou Xinxin were willing to degenerate in the future was all because of Su Yongwei's indulgence. Yin Tong quickly passed the basket of fruits to Su Yongwei. Sister-in-law, where is Big Brother? Is he not home? Su Yongwei took the fruit and casually put it aside. He went out to drink with a friend last night and is still sleeping upstairs. She glanced at Yin Tong and Zhou Hao indifferently. Then she coldly smiled and said, "Don't tell me you are here to borrow money again?" Yin Tong heard this and immediately revealed an embarrassed expression and said, "Sister-in-law, can you help us?" Liren took the money away again. "Now I don't even have Xiao Hao's tuition fees." "Ah Tong, it's not that I don't want to lend it to you. The money you borrowed from my family last time has not been paid off yet." She looked at Zhou Hao and said with a gloating smile, "Xiao Hao, your father is useless. You must study hard. Don't make the same mistake again. Look, your mom is so worried about you." "Auntie, I will." Seeing Su Yongwei's mocking eyes, Zhou Hao really wanted to get up and give her a slap. But he knew now was not the time to be impulsive, so he firmly suppressed the anger in his heart. At this moment, Zhou Zhihao turned around and shouted at Zhou Hao, "Hao, come and play games with me. This game is very fun." He looked at Zhou Hao as if he was saying, "You must have never played games before." "No, don't let him dirty our sofa." Zhou Xinxin, who was beside him, said with disgust, "Mommy, when will they leave? Look, the whole room stinks when they come in. How can you talk to them like that?" Su Yongwei scolded her, but there was no reproach in her eyes. Zhou Hao clenched his fists on his legs and trembled slightly. The memories of his previous life surged into his mind again. At that time, Yin Tong had contracted liver cancer and needed to be hospitalized for treatment. However, because Zhou Hao was in university, his family did not have much money left. Helpless, Zhou Hao could only borrow money from Zhou Lichang. However, Zhou Hao did not expect Zhou Lichang, who had tens of millions of family fortune at that time, to reject him very straightforwardly. Su Yongwei, who was present, said in a numb and heartless manner, "Your mother has terminal cancer. No matter how much money you spend, it will be in vain. You'd better prepare for the funeral as soon as possible." Zhou Hao would never forget the humiliation that Zhou Lichang and his family had inflicted on Zhou Hao at the moment of his death. At this time, Yin Tong, who was sitting beside Zhou Hao, stretched out her hand and grabbed Zhou Hao's tightly clenched fist. She hinted to him not to be impulsive. At the same time, Yin Tong pleaded to Su Yongwei, "Sister-in-law, please help us. Xiao Hao's tuition fees cannot be delayed. We will definitely return the money to you as soon as possible." "All right. After all, we are relatives." Su Yongwei curled her lips and said, "How much do you want to borrow?" 10,000. Zhou Hao said. Su Yongwei widened her eyes and looked at Zhou Hao. 10,000? Why are you borrowing so much money? Can you pay me back? Yin Tong also looked at Zhou Hao in surprise. She originally only wanted to borrow 1,000. Zhou Hao raised his head and said to Su Yongwei, "We want to do some small business. Auntie, don't worry. This is the last time we borrow money from you. We will definitely pay it back as soon as possible." Under Yin Tong's pleading gaze, Su Yongwei thought for a while and said, "All right." To avoid others saying that old Zhou did not care about the life and death of his younger brother's family. "But Tong, I will tell you in advance, you must pay off this money as soon as possible. Otherwise, even if we are relatives, we will not give you any face. It is not easy for our old Zhou to earn money." After that, Su Yongwei took out a stack of brand new 100 yuan notes from the room and handed it to Yin Tong. However, Zhou Hao saw the look in Su Yongwei's eyes. She was clearly giving charity to a beggar. "You guys wait and see. One day, I will return your great kindness." After walking out of Zhou Lichang's house, Zhou Hao looked at the luxurious villa and secretly made an oath. On the way back, Yin Tong asked Zhou Hao, "Xiao Hao, why did you borrow so much money from sister-in-law? When did we decide to do a small business? Zhou Hao smiled lightly. Mom, I'm not going to do a small business. After paying the tuition, I plan to use the rest of the money to do stock trading. Buying and selling stocks? Yin Tong was very surprised. At this time in 1998, the trading of stocks had slowly risen among the ordinary people. However, for Yin Tong, who could barely maintain her life, she did not have any spare money to invest in the stock market. Moreover, even if Yin Tong did not know about stocks, she knew that it was risky to invest in stocks. There were also rumors in society that some people went bankrupt because of the stock market, and some even commit suicide because of it. That's right. Zhou Hao smiled and said, didn't a securities company just open up on the other side of the banks nearby? We can open an account there and invest the money into a few shares with potential. Yin Tong did not agree with Zhou Hao's words. She reproached him. What does a child like you know about stocks? Let's return the remaining money. Otherwise, your father will use the money to gamble again. Zhou Hao sighed slightly. He was only 14 years old and did not have an ID card, so he could not open an account to buy and sell stocks. The trading of stocks had to be done by Yin Tong. Therefore, Zhou Hao had to convince Yin Tong. He pointed at the noisy market across the street and the place filled with garbage not far away. Mom, that market is going to be demolished soon. In the future, there will be a large supermarket there. And there will also be a 5-star hotel built in the open space there. Mom, the development of Xiang City is getting faster and faster. We must seize the opportunity to improve our lives. He looked deeply at Yin Tong. Mom, I don't want you to clean the streets and wash dishes behind the food stall all night. I want you to live in the villa. I want you to drive a famous car. 0. Zhou Hao's excitement and anticipation more or less infected Yin Tong, making her fall into her fantasy of the future. However, to her, the risk of trading stocks was too high. It was not much better than Zhou Liren gambling with money. Zhou Hao saw Yin Tong's deeply worried expression. He asked her, Mom, do you believe me? Of course, Mom believes in Xiao Hao, but... Zhou Hao smiled and interrupted Yin Tong. Then you can leave it to me without worry. Instead of keeping the 10,000 yuan, you might as well use it to invest. I have already analyzed a few shares. I believe that within a short period of time, those few shares will have an obvious increase. Let's go to the newly opened securities company next week and open an account. In fact, the current Zhou Hao is only a 14-year-old young man. It was not convincing when he said he wanted to buy shares. However, Yin Tong did not know why, but she felt that Zhou Hao's words would definitely come true. Vaguely, she felt that her son was no longer the ignorant youth from before. Today was Monday, and Zhou Hao was going to start his new week of study just like the other ordinary high school students. Once Zhou Hao came out of his house, he saw Wang Shijuan, who was wearing a blue and white school uniform, standing there gracefully. She had been waiting for Zhou Hao for a long time. Wang Shijuan and Zhou Hao were not studying in the same high school. Zhou Hao was studying in Yining Middle School, the most famous school in Xiang City, while Wang Shijuan was studying in the nearby No. 2 high school in Fragrant City. Wang Shijuan, who was wearing the school uniform, had a different youthful feeling. Although she still looked shy, she was already slim and graceful. Wang Shijuan saw Zhou Hao and smiled. There were 2 cute dimples on her face. Morning. Morning, my lady. Zhou Hao looked at the cute and cheerful Wang Shijuan and felt his mood improve. The two of them went downstairs together. Wang Shijuan walked beside Zhou Hao. Her face had always been red. The scene of Zhou Hao touching her cheek the day before kept replaying in her mind. She secretly looked at Zhou Hao's slightly swaying left hand from time to time, and her face involuntarily heated up. What's wrong? Zhou Hao noticed Wang Shijuan's strange behavior and asked curiously. Nothing. Wang Shijuan quickly retracted her gaze and shyly stared at the ground. By the way, Zhou Hao, after school this afternoon, I want to go to Xinhua bookstore to buy books. Can you accompany me? Sure. Zhou Hao smiled and agreed. Then I will wait for you at the entrance of your school after school this afternoon. Okay? Okay. Wang Shijuan saw Zhou Hao agree and immediately became excited. The shyness just now was also washed away a lot. At this time, the two of them had already arrived at the main door downstairs. As the two schools were in different directions, the two of them had to part here. Wang Shijuan waved at Zhou Hao unhappily. Then we'll see you in the afternoon. Then she turned around and walked towards her school. Zhou Hao looked at Wang Shijuan's beautiful back and his heart started to ripple. He only thought that he could not give up on her no matter what, so as not to make him regret it for the rest of his life like in his previous life. Only when Wang Shijuan's figure disappeared at the end of the street did Zhou Hao walk in the opposite direction. When he walked out of the intersection, he saw 3 to 5 students wearing the uniform of Ening Middle School like him, walking towards the school. This made the quiet morning more restless and excited. Zhou looked at the road that led to Ening Middle School in front of him. Zhou felt a little emotional in his heart. It had been a long time since he had walked this road. Zhou did not forget to recite ancient language or English on the way to school. Now that he thought about it, he felt nostalgic. Even that familiar ancient language flashed in his mind a few times. Zhou took a deep breath. He stepped onto the road to school. At the same time, he thought about whether his classmates in school were the same as in his previous life. On the way, there was a shop selling pastries. Many students liked to buy breakfast here. In his previous life, Zhou had not even eaten 2 cents worth of vegetable buns due to his family circumstances. Every time he passed by, he could only envy those students who could eat hot buns. Today, the front door of this restaurant was still filled with students. The fragrance of the steamed buns filled the entire street. Zhou touched the 2 yuan of lunch money Yin Tong gave him in his pocket and laughed bitterly in his heart. It seems that I don't have the qualifications to eat that vegetable bun yet, but it won't take long. I can always taste it, and it can be considered as making up for a regret in my previous life. Zhou thought of this and didn't stay any longer. He continued walking forward. At the same time, Zhou noticed a beautiful figure not far ahead. Her jet black and shiny long hair fluttered gently, as if her fragrance was all around him. She was wearing a fitting black short skirt. The skirt was over her knees, revealing her snow-white and slender legs. Below that was a pair of thin high heels. Her slender figure and her swaying steps made her a striking sight. Furthermore, just from this back view, Zhou inexplicably felt that she had an air of nobility about her, making her stand out among the students and office workers that were passing by in a hurry. When Zhou saw such a beautiful back view, Zhou also began to fantasize about the face of that beauty like other men. He only hoped that she wasn't the kind of person whose back view was enchanting, but whose face was ugly. At this moment, the beauty happened to pass by a huge hotel signboard. Zhou suddenly became alert. He raised his head to look at the sign, and then something strange happened. Zhou felt that his line of sight quickly drew closer, and even the screw on the sign could be seen clearly. It was as if he had instantly worn a pair of high-powered binoculars. What's wrong? Zhou did not know what was wrong with his body. However, he did not have the time to investigate what was wrong with his body, because he saw cracks appearing on the cement wall of the fixed sign. The signboard of the hotel was about to fall down, and it could collapse with just a slight breeze. Be careful. Zhou immediately shouted a warning to the beauty in front of him. Hearing Zhou's sudden shout, the beauty subconsciously stopped her steps and turned around. This time, Zhou also saw her face clearly, and his heart couldn't help but tremble, so beautiful. This woman looked to be around 25 or 26 years old. She had a typical oval face, and her facial features were very delicate, especially her straight and beautiful nose and plump red lips, which had an extraordinary charm. Moreover, she had a mature and experienced temperament, the image of a strong woman who was both talented and beautiful. Zhou thought to himself, she was almost the same as Wang Shijuan. Just as this thought arose in his mind, he cursed in his heart. At this time, he was still thinking about these useless things. Due to Zhou's shout, the woman happened to stop right under the hotel signboard. Zhou pointed at the signboard and shouted, "Go away." The woman heard the sound and looked up. The sign of the hotel also separated from the concrete wall and fell down with a cocked sound. "Oh!" the woman screamed, and the surrounding pedestrians all cried out in surprise when they saw the sudden situation. However, no one had the time to rescue the woman. Many people even covered their eyes, unable to bear to see the tragedy of a beautiful woman dying. At this critical moment, a figure that was swift like a ghost flew over at lightning speed. He rushed to the woman's side in an instant, hugged her, and rushed forward. Boom! The collapsed signboard raised a cloud of dust, and the glass and broken steel bars scattered all over the floor. "Hurry and call the police." That woman was smashed into the ground. The person who had covered his eyes earlier hurriedly shouted, "No need. She was saved." The other spectators who had witnessed what had happened said in time. Everyone's eyes also fell on the 2 people on the ground in front of the sign. The woman's eyes were still tightly closed, and she looked frightened. Below her was a boy wearing a green school uniform, and it was Zhou. Seeing that both of them were safe and sound, the surrounding crowd burst into cheers. Under the cheers of the crowd, the woman finally came back to her senses. She slowly opened her eyes and realized that she was not injured. She was pressing something soft under her body. When she saw the sign that had turned into a pile of debris, she realized that she was not dead. If it's convenient for you, can you go down now? I can't get up. The slightly hoarse voice from below gave her a scare. She quickly moved her body away and saw Zhou Hao, who was protecting her. Zero. You saved me? She looked at Zhou Hao below and asked in surprise. In fact, Zhou Hao was also very shocked because the distance between him and her was more than 50 meters. But in the blink of an eye, he crossed over 50 meters and saved her. He had heard before that there was a mother who fell off the building in order to save the child. She quickly ran 100 meters to pick up her child. It could be seen that humans had unlimited potential in emergencies. However, this woman was not his family. Zhou Hao had just thought of this when he saw the beautiful face of this woman. He could only smile bitterly in his heart. The strength of a beauty is indeed shocking. Thank you so much. This woman's life was saved by Zhou Hao. She was very grateful. She did not know how to express her gratitude. At the same time, she saw a cut on Zhou Hao's right elbow school uniform. The skin inside had been cut, and blood was flowing out. You're bleeding. How do you feel? Let me take you to the hospital. She quickly took out a wet tissue from her bag and carefully wiped Zhou Hao's wound. She was very touched. Not only did Zhou Hao save her life, he also used his body to protect her when she landed to prevent her from getting hurt. As she bent over to wipe Zhou Hao's wound, the spring light on her chest unexpectedly fell into Zhou Hao's eyes. Hiss! Zhou Hao sucked in a breath of cold air and felt his vision turn white. He thought that this woman's chest was too big. Furthermore, Zhou Hao also saw a black lace bra below. And lace. Zhou Hao was shocked in his heart and even had a nosebleed. Classmate, you have a nosebleed. Are you suffering from a concussion? When the woman saw a stream of blood flowing from Zhou Hao's nose, she immediately became nervous. Zhou Hao was shocked when he heard the sound. He quickly reached out and wiped his nose. Zhou Hao saw the concern on the beautiful woman's face again. He felt that the idea in his heart was too bad. He forced a smile and explained, No, it's just that the weather has been hot recently. That's why I have a nosebleed. He looked at the surrounding crowd who had already noticed the clues and said to the woman, If you have nothing else to do, I will go to school and I will be late. After he finished speaking, he ignored her words and hurriedly ran past the crowd to his school. Zhou Hao's heart was filled with emotion when he saw the thick and grand entrance of Yining Middle School and the students who entered one after another. How long had it been since he came back? He took a deep breath, pulled his bag, and stepped into the school. The scenery in Yining Middle School was no different from what Zhou Hao remembered. On both sides of the school road were rows of lush banyan trees. The school building with a simple style was glittering under the sunlight. The new stadium in the distance was still under construction. The only thing visible was a bamboo raft and a web of cloth. He followed the path in his memory and arrived at Class 2 of elementary school. He saw that many students had already gathered in the classroom. Looking at the familiar faces that had now become unfamiliar once again appearing in front of him, an indescribable feeling arose in Zhou Hao's heart. Raising his head to look at the signboard of Second Year Class 1, Zhou Hao stepped into the classroom. Morning, Zhou Hao. A boy with short hair and a slightly fat figure smiled brightly at Zhou Hao. When he saw this chubby boy, memories of his past life flooded into his mind once again. This boy was called Lu Shichao, Zhou Hao's deskmate, and Zhou Hao's best classmate and friend when he was in middle school. After graduation, Lu Shichao went to Beijing and only occasionally contacted Zhou Hao. Now that Zhou Hao saw his good friend from many years ago, he was a little excited, but he could not show it. He could only smile and say to him, Good morning. Where did you go yesterday? I went to your house to look for you, but there was no one there. Lu Shichao asked as he copied Zhou Hao's homework. He remembered that he went to Zhou Lichang's house to borrow money yesterday, and he was laughed at by Su Yongwei. Zhou Hao was annoyed and angry again. He swore that he would repay their family well in the future. At the same time, he said to Lu Shichao, No, I went to work with my mother yesterday. Lu Shichao buried his head in his homework and said, But I saw that the girl opposite your house was also waiting for you to come back. Speaking up to this point, he suddenly raised his head. His eyes narrowed to a slit. Zhou Hao, tell me the truth. Who is that girl? She is very beautiful, much more beautiful than the girls in our class. As soon as he finished speaking, the girl with freckles in front of him suddenly turned around and glared at him angrily. So what if we are not beautiful? We will not fancy the *in fatty like you. Why did you give me this nickname? This is very unlucky. Lu Shichao protested angrily. That's how I call you. What can you do to me? Not only was this girl not afraid of Lu Shichao, she even held her head high and puffed out her chest, as if she wanted to fight Lu Shichao. Lu Shichao really did not dare to do anything to her. After all, it was common for boys to fight. But if he hit a girl, he would be looked down upon. Besides, he didn't have any intention of getting serious with her. Zhou Hao looked at them from the side and couldn't help but laugh in his heart. This girl's name was Luo Hui. She didn't get along with Lu Shichao during middle school. They often quarreled over small matters. However, they got married so quickly after graduating from university, which surprised everyone. When he was Lu Shichao's best man, he said to Zhou Hao with a bitter face, "When I saw her in middle school, I knew that my life was destined to be ruined by her hands." At this time, the girl sitting next to Luo Hui slightly pulled her hand and said softly, "Stop messing around. It's time for class." Seeing the girl's side profile, Zhou Hao patted his forehead and said in his heart, "There's still her. How could I forget about her?" The girl's name was Gao Jingyi, and she was very beautiful. At this time, Wang Shijuan could not compare to her. Gao Jingyi was the most beautiful girl in Zhou Hao's class. Many senior boys had pursued her before, but she was very proud and cold to everyone. Zhou Hao had never heard of her dating before. In the student gathering later, Zhou Hao occasionally saw her. At that time, she was more beautiful and mature than when she was in middle school. However, she had always been single and had never seen her bring a boyfriend to the gathering. When he sat behind her, Zhou Hao could occasionally see her white neck that was accidentally exposed, which had a great visual impact and emotional turmoil on Zhou Hao at that time. While he was immersed in his past memories, a beautiful white figure walked into the classroom and went straight to the podium. She said to the students below in a very clear and melodious voice, "Students, we are going to start class." The familiar voice made Zhou Hao come back to his senses. He looked at the podium with some excitement, and his heart could not help but beat faster. The woman on the podium had black and beautiful hair, a pair of big bright eyes, and a cherry red lips. When she smiled, she always gave people a comfortable feeling like a spring breeze, unconsciously warming other people's hearts. At this time, she was wearing a milky white shirt with a gray short skirt over her knees, looking generous and dignified. This beautiful woman was the form teacher of Class 2, Class 1. She was also the English teacher of this class, Li Rulin. Li Rulin had just graduated from the teacher training college this year and became Zhou Hao's form teacher in the first year. She was only around 23 years old now. To Zhou Hao, Li Rulin was his true first love. Compared to Wang Shijuan, who was his childhood friend, and Gao Jingyi, who was aloof and gave people endless fantasies, Li Rulin was his true first love, even if it was just a crush. The reason why Zhou Hao desperately pursued Zheng Ying in his previous life was because Zheng Ying looked a little similar to Li Rulin between her eyebrows. Zhou Hao felt that Li Rulin was somewhat similar to the popular female star in his previous life, Liu Yifei. She gave off a pure feeling. However, Zhou Hao felt that Li Rulin was much more beautiful than Liu Yifei. In order to get Li Rulin's attention, Zhou Hao worked very hard in the English class and even won the first prize of the English Olympics. However, things went contrary to her wishes. Zhou Hao's outstanding English grades made Li Rulin very relieved. Instead, she focused her attention on those poor students. This time, "I cannot participate in those English competitions." Zhou Hao stared at Li Rulin on the stage and thought to himself, "In the future, I will deliberately write the wrong answer in the English exam. I want Teacher Li to give me private tutoring." Li Rulin's lecture was very serious. Due to her solid skills and her own experience in learning English, the English results of second grade Class 1 had always been first in the grade. Moreover, many boys in the class admired Li Rulin just like Zhou Hao, so they were very serious in class. Whenever Li Rulin looked over, Zhou Hao would immediately sit up straight, afraid that he would leave a bad impression on her. Even Lu Shichao, who was beside her, would often pass a note to Zhou Hao and write on it, "What Teacher Li was wearing today was really too beautiful." When the bell rang for the end of the class, Li Rulin's gentle voice was heard. "Zhou Hao, come here for a moment." Zhou Hao was stunned. He just remembered that he had not paid the tuition fees and Li Rulin must have called him for this. He quickly stood up from his seat and followed Li Rulin out of the classroom. He followed Li Rulin to the English classroom in the office building. The other teachers had all gone to class, so there were only Li Rulin and Zhou Hao in the spacious office. "Teacher Li, this is my tuition this year. Sorry, I dragged it on for so long." Zhou Hao handed the school fees in the envelope to Li Rulin. Li Rulin paused for a moment when she saw the envelope that Zhou Hao handed over. Then, she revealed a faint smile. "I also want to tell you that if your family is really in trouble, I can help you apply for a scholarship from the school." Seeing Li Rulin's orchid-like smile, Zhou Hao was very touched and shook his head. "No need, Teacher Li. I am fine." Li Rulin sat on the chair and looked sideways at Zhou Hao. "Zhou Hao, The teacher knows that you study very hard and also knows that your family's financial pressure is very high. I hope that you can overcome the difficulties. Only knowledge can help your family get out of trouble. If you need any help, just tell me. I'll do my best to help you. 3. Got it. I will. Zhou Hao did not agree with Li Ruolin's words. In many cases, knowledge could not help him get rid of the cruel reality. However, Zhou Hao still enjoyed Li Ruolin's concern. Furthermore, Zhou Hao, who was standing beside Li Ruolin, could smell her hair fragrance. Oh right, there is one more thing. Zhou Hao suddenly came back to his senses. Li Ruolin handed a test paper to Zhou Hao. Your English grades are also very top in the class, so I want you to participate in this year's English Olympics. When Zhou Hao heard this, he thought to himself that Teacher Li really wanted him to participate in the English Olympics. He immediately wanted to refuse. Teacher Li, my English is not good. If I go to the competition, I will lose the face of the school. How can that be? Li Ruolin smiled lightly. During your last semester's final exam, your English grade was ranked 3rd in the class. If such a result is not considered good, then wouldn't the other students in the class be even worse? After thinking for a while, she said, how about this? Since you say your English is not good, then I will help you tutor. You tutor me alone? Zhou Hao quickly asked. In his previous life, when he participated in competitions, the person who tutored them in English was the head teacher in his 50s. But at this time, Li Ruolin also thought of the problem. But the school has already decided to let the head teacher tutor the students who participated in the competition after class. Zhou Hao immediately shook his head. No way. Teacher, after school, I still have to go home to help my mom. I can't stay in the school, and I can't participate in the head teacher's tutoring class. Then I'll tell the school leader, and let me go to your house to tutor you tonight. Really? Zhou Hao was very excited to be able to spend time alone with his first love. Li Ruolin saw Zhou Hao's excited expression and thought that he was very interested in this competition. It can't be settled yet. I have to explain your special situation to them. I hope the leader will approve this matter. Zhou Hao said, no matter what, I still have to thank you. Then you should work hard in the competition. Li Ruolin smiled. Don't worry. I will get good results in the competition. When the time comes, I will give you the first prize certificate. Zhou Hao knew the content of the competition, so of course he had absolute confidence. Huh. Zhou Hao, why is your hand injured? Li Ruolin suddenly saw a hole in Zhou Hao's school uniform on his right arm. The exposed skin was also red. Zhou Hao looked down and saw the wound caused by saving the beauty on the way to school. After a lesson, there was no more bleeding. There was even a thin layer of scab, but it still hurt when it touched. He smiled at Li Ruolin. Teacher Li, it's nothing. I accidentally fell down. This cannot do. What if you get tetanus? As she spoke, Li Ruolin let Zhou Hao take off his school uniform jacket. At the same time, she took out a first aid kit from the cabinet in the research room. Teacher, there's no need. Zhou Hao was too embarrassed to trouble Li Ruolin. Li Ruolin looked at him reproachfully. Did you not even listen to what I said? In Zhou Hao's eyes, Li Ruolin's glance was filled with all kinds of emotions. He could not muster up the heart to reject her, so he obediently took off his coat. I didn't expect your body to be so strong. Li Ruolin saw Zhou Hao's exposed arms and smiled. Zhou Hao was stunned. He also noticed something unusual about his body. The lines on his body had become very tough. There were also very good-looking muscles on his arms. Zhou Hao thought to himself, what's going on? At this time, he was clearly very thin and weak. In his previous life, he only had the habit of working out after going to university. Just as he was thinking, he saw Li Ruolin using tweezers to pinch a lump of wet alcohol cotton and carefully wipe it on his wound. Strands of chilliness and slight pain arose at the same time, making Zhou Hao subconsciously shrink his arm. Don't move, it will be fine very soon. Li Ruolin lowered her head slightly and concentrated on cleaning Zhou Hao's wound. The expression on her face had a kind of tranquil temperament. It made Zhou Hao's heart beat even faster when he was close to observing her. He only hoped that time would stay at this moment forever. After that, Li Ruolin wrapped 2 more bandages around Zhou Hao. It was a very good bandage, but it also made Zhou Hao very comfortable. It was really a clever trick. All right, be careful in the future. Yes, Li Ruolin said as she packed the medicine box. Thank you, teacher. At this time, Li Ruolin picked up Zhou Hao's school uniform coat again. Your clothes are torn. Let me sew it up for you. I will bring it back to you later. Teacher, there's no need. I'll just do it myself when I get home. Li Ruolin, on the other hand, had already taken out a box of needles and threads from the drawer. You don't have to say anymore. Hurry up and go to class. Otherwise, you'll be late. Zhou Hao saw Li Ruolin pull out a thread and put it into her mouth to moisten it. Then, she skillfully went through the needle. He said, "Thank you." He had a strong feeling in his heart. Teacher Li was a good wife and a good mother. When he came out of the office building, Zhou Hao saw Lu Shichao, Luo Hui, and the others walking towards the sports field, because it was the physical education class next. Seeing Zhou Hao coming out of the office building, Lu Shichao came over and asked, "Zhou Hao, what did Teacher Li say to you?" "She asked me to participate in the English Olympics." Zhou Hao said, "Only you and Gao Jingyi are qualified to participate in our class." Lu Shichao shrugged. "Huh, what happened to your hands?" Lu Shichao also saw the bandage on Zhou Hao's hand. Zhou Hao told Lu Shichao about Li Ruolin bandaging his wound, which made Lu Shichao very envious. He even said that he would be injured during the physical education class later, so that Teacher Li could also bandage him. The bell for class rang, and Zhou Hao and his classmates had already gathered in the field. The sports teacher's surname was Shun. He was a man in his 30s. He used to be a member of the provincial basketball team, but after he was injured and retired, he was assigned to be a sports teacher here. He was a very humorous person, and everyone in the class liked him. "Student, you have an injury on your hand. Do you need to take leave for this class?" Teacher Shin asked Zhou Hao. "No need, teacher. It's just a slight abrasion. I'm fine." The physical education classes in junior high school were more free. Everyone could move freely after they had prepared a set of sports under the teacher's lead. Lu Shichao usually liked to play volleyball with the girls he served. Even though he was fat, his volleyball skills were very good. He was very admired by those girls. At this time, Lu Shichao wanted to pull Zhou Hao to play volleyball, but Zhou Hao looked at the boys in class who were walking towards the basketball court. "No, I want to play basketball today." Although Yao Ming had not gone to America yet, basketball had not yet become popular in China. However, many students in Yining Middle School had a good family background. They could learn about the NBA through various channels. Moreover, even though basketball was not popular yet, it was still a sport that attracted girls' attention. This made many boys who had ulterior motives become even more passionate. In his previous life, due to his family background, Zhou Hao could not help but feel inferior in front of these well-off classmates. At the same time, he was more introverted and would not participate in such a flamboyant sport. Now, after being reborn, Zhou Hao had a very strong confidence due to his unique advantage. He also thought that youth was originally arrogant. In this lifetime, Zhou Hao didn't want to stay silent anymore. "Zhou Hao, you also know how to play basketball? How come I never knew?" Lu Shichao was very surprised by Zhou Hao's suggestion. Zhou Hao just shrugged and smiled. In university, because he had the habit of exercising his body, his physical fitness improved rapidly, and he naturally started playing basketball. After serious training, he was also selected to join the university's school team. "Are you going?" Zhou Hao patted Lu Shichao's arm. "Hee, even if I don't play basketball, I have to cheer you up. Let's go." He threw the volleyball in his hand to Luo Hui and ran to the basketball court with Zhou Hao. Seeing Zhou Hao and Lu Shichao walk into the basketball court, the boys asked curiously, "You guys are also here to play basketball? Don't you guys like playing volleyball with those girls?" Lu Shichao smiled and said, "I'm just here to take a look. The one who wants to play is Zhou Hao." One of the boys immediately threw the basketball to Zhou Hao. He wanted Zhou Hao to show his skills. Zhou Hao took the basketball and touched it with his hand. Maybe it was because his palm was not as wide as before, so the basketball seemed to be very big. However, it did not affect Zhou Hao's performance. He quickly ran the ball towards the bottom of the basketball. Then, he made a standard two-step layup and easily threw the ball into the basket. Not bad. The eyes of the boys in the class lit up. They did not expect Zhou Hao, who was usually quiet, to have such skills. Therefore, the 10 boys, including Zhou Hao, began to exercise intensely on the basketball court. Compared to the boys who had just started playing basketball, Zhou Hao's basketball skills seemed to stand out in the crowd. His technique of moving the ball, crossing steps, turning around, and so on were all very dazzling in the eyes of the boys on the court as well as the audience outside the court. Zhou Hao could easily carry the ball with him, and no one could stop him. However, since shooting a ball often had to pay attention to the texture, Zhou Hao, who used to be an outstanding scorer in university, did not get many shots. Instead, he got more shots. Zhou Hao's superb basketball skills caused the audience to cheer. Among them, Lu Shichao was the one who was the most excited. The boys in the same class also gasped and praised Zhou Hao. "Zhou Hao, where did you learn basketball from? It's amazing." "I was just playing." Zhou Hao waved his hand and the basketball started spinning rapidly on his fingertip. The people around him were shocked. "Hey kid, you played your ball well. How about having a match with us?" 5 boys suddenly came to the basketball court. The one in the lead had long hair, and his pretty face was full of arrogance. Seeing his hairstyle, Zhou Hao was slightly stunned. Then, he remembered that this happened to be the time when the Hong Kong classic movie Ghoulie was released for the first time. 2. This boy's hairstyle was exactly the same as the main character of Gu Bewitching Zai. Furthermore, Zhou Hao also recognized that boy at this time. He was a second-year high school student. His name was Wen Xiaoqiang, and he was one of the tyrants in Yining Middle School. His father was a famous hooligan leader in Fragrant Sky City. So many teachers didn't dare to bother with him, which made him even more arrogant. In his previous life, Zhou Hao would never have any contact with such a person, but he didn't expect to meet him now. When the others saw Wen Xiaoqiang, their faces showed more or less fear. The boy called Huang Chengjian next to Zhou Hao even respectfully greeted Wen Xiaoqiang with a smile. "Young Master Wan, hello?" Wen Xiaoqiang did not pay attention to Huang Chengjian. He only looked at Zhou Hao. "I am talking to you. Kid, do you want to have a fight with us?" Zhou Hao saw the silent students and the deeply worried Lu Shichao. He forced a smile at young Master Wan and said, "Sure." Therefore, Wen Xiaoqiang and the others formed a team. Zhou Hao and the 4 boys in his class formed a team and started a match with Wen Xiaoqiang and the others. However, because of Wen Xiaoqiang's fame, the 4 boys on Zhou Hao's side started to fight timidly. Originally, their skills were not very good, but now they were even more messed up. Furthermore, Wen Xiaoqiang's group was bigger than Zhou Hao's group. In these 3 years, they also had a big advantage in height. Although their teammates did not play well, it made Zhou Hao's basketball skills even more outstanding. He moved the ball to the front of the court, and Wen Xiaoqiang, who was a head taller than him, immediately blocked in front of him to defend. However, although Wen Xiaoqiang was taller than Zhou Hao, and his skills were much better than the boys in Zhou Hao's class, he was still far from being as good as Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao continuously dribbled balls in front of Wen Xiaoqiang. Then his upper body leaned to the left, causing Wen Xiaoqiang to quickly defend to the left. Zhou Hao suddenly changed his direction and broke through from the right. Then he turned around and dodged another boy in front of him, steadily sending the ball into the basket. "Awesome, Zhou Hao. Come on." Outside the arena, Lu Shichao shouted with all his might. Under his influence, the other students also cheered for Zhou Hao. Because when Xiaoqiang and the others had a bad reputation in the school, the current Zhou Hao had become a righteous man who fought against the evil forces. "You're good." When Xiaoqiang praised Zhou Hao when he saw how popular Zhou Hao was. However, when Xiaoqiang's face showed that he was gnashing his teeth in anger, a teammate came to Zhou Hao's side and reminded him in a low voice, "Zhou Hao, be careful. I think they are going to use some dirty tricks." Zhou Hao frowned. Sure enough, he saw Wen Xiaoqiang and the others talking in a low voice. They looked at him fiercely from time to time. Zhou Hao remembered that Wen Xiaoqiang often fought in school and outside the school. If Wen Xiaoqiang was not convinced, he might really use underhanded tactics on Zhou Hao. When it was Wen Xiaoqiang's turn to kick the ball, they walked over aggressively. They looked like a group of fierce, hungry wolves. The boys on the other side were scared by their appearances. They didn't dare to go up and defend them. Wen Xiaoqiang also sneered at Zhou Hao. He walked over slowly with the ball. "You know what to do," Wen Xiaoqiang said in a voice only he and Zhou Hao could hear. Then he walked around Zhou Hao and walked down the basket. Although the students and Lu Shichao outside the basketball court did not hear what Wen Xiaoqiang said, when they saw this scene, they all thought that Zhou Hao was afraid of him. Looking at Wen Xiaoqiang's back, Zhou Hao's heart was filled with anger. Huang Wang's face appeared in his mind again. In his mind, there was also the face of Su Yongwei who had humiliated him yesterday. He said to himself, "I have had enough of being bullied by others." Zhou Hao gritted his teeth and quickly caught up with Wen Xiaoqiang. Without Wen Xiaoqiang noticing, Zhou Hao reached out his hand and snatched the ball from Wen Xiaoqiang's hand. Wen Xiaoqiang felt his hand go empty. When he turned around, he saw that Zhou Hao had already run towards his basket with the ball. The students outside the stadium also cheered loudly. Without anyone defending, Zhou Hao naturally put the ball into the basket and made a beautiful fast attack. When Xiaoqiang and the others were still standing there, as if they were idiots. When Zhou Hao came back with the ball, when Xiaoqiang finally reacted. He was so angry that he took a few steps forward and pushed Zhou Hao hard. "You are courting death. What's wrong?" Zhou Hao also looked at Wen Xiaoqiang with an unfriendly face. Lu Shichao also ran over immediately. Although Wen Xiaoqiang hated Zhou Hao, in front of so many people, it was not reasonable for him to hit Zhou Hao for no reason. So he deliberately shouted, "You hit my hand just now. This is considered a violation of the rules." As he spoke, he pushed Zhou Hao's shoulder again. "You dare to break the rules while playing basketball with me. You must be tired of living." He planned to use this excuse to teach Zhou Hao a lesson. Zhou Hao was a person who had reincarnated. How could he not guess the dirty thoughts in Wen Xiaoqiang's heart? There are so many people watching. Everyone saw that I didn't hit your hand. You are lying. That's right. I saw it all. Zhou Hao didn't touch your hand at all. Although Lu Shichao, who rushed over, was also afraid of Wen Xiaoqiang, Zhou Hao was his friend. It was worth it even if he was beaten up for Zhou Hao. As for the other boys in the class, none of them dared to compete with Wen Xiaoqiang. I know best whether he hit me or not. You've been quibbling. You should be taught a lesson. Wen Xiaoqiang raised his right fist and punched at Zhou Hao's face. Wen Xiaoqiang was notorious in all the high schools in Xiang City. One reason was that he had a father who was a gangster. On the other hand, it was also because he was very fierce in fights. Plus, he was taller than an average adult. Therefore, the punch he threw at Zhou Hao at this moment was fast and fierce. Zhou Hao originally thought that he was going to get beaten up, but in his eyes, Wen Xiaoqiang's movements were very strange. His movements were like the slow movements in a movie. Even the air ripples caused by the fist were clearly seen by Zhou Hao. What's going on? Zhou Hao was very surprised. At the same time, he raised his hand and easily grabbed Wen Xiaoqiang's fist. Wen Xiaoqiang was surprised to see Zhou Hao blocking his fist. Wen Xiaoqiang was so angry that he wanted to raise his other hand and hit Zhou Hao. But at this moment, he saw Li Ruolin walking towards him from afar. His face changed and quickly pulled his fist back from Zhou Hao's hand. At the same time, he smiled at Li Ruolin, who came over and said, "Hello, Teacher Li." Zhou Hao also turned around to look when he heard that, and also saw Li Ruolin. She was still holding his school uniform jacket. "Zhou Hao, you guys are playing basketball." Li Ruolin only nodded slightly to Wen Xiaoqiang, but she showed a smile to Zhou Hao like an orchid. Before Zhou Hao could say anything, Wen Xiaoqiang smiled and said, "Yes, Teacher Li, we are playing basketball. What brings you here?" "I am here to find Zhou Hao." Li Ruolin obviously knew about Wen Xiaoqiang's bad reputation. She did not like his flattery. "I am tired of playing basketball too. Teacher, if you're looking for me, let's go over there." Zhou Hao glanced at Wen Xiaoqiang indifferently, then left the court with Li Ruolin and Lu Shichao. Looking at Zhou Hao's back, Wen Xiaoqiang snorted coldly. One of his companions also came over. "Do you want me to teach him a lesson?" "Of course." Wen Xiaoqiang raised his eyebrows. But this matter cannot be seen by Li Ruolin. Speaking up to this point, his gaze shifted from Zhou Hao to Li Ruolin's beautiful and slender figure. "Young Master One, you don't really want to date her, do you?" Wen Xiaoqiang's companion asked with a smile. Wen Xiaoqiang laughed twice. "I am interested in Gao Jingyi and Li Ruolin now. Gao Jingyi's father is a secretary of the municipal party committee. I cannot afford to offend him. But Li Ruolin." Under a big banyan tree outside the basketball court, Li Ruolin asked Zhou Hao, "Zhou Hao, you also know that Wen Xiaoqiang?" Zhou Hao shook his head. "No, I just played a basketball with them. You better not get too close to Wen Xiaoqiang. He will destroy you." Li Ruolin was deeply afraid that someone like Wen Xiaoqiang would ruin the student she had high hopes for, so she earnestly advised Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao was very touched by Li Ruolin's concern. "Teacher, don't worry. I know which friends I can make and which friends I can't make." As he spoke, he glanced at Lu Shichao. "I believe you. You have always been a reassuring child." Li Ruolin reached out and touched Zhou Hao's head. Zhou Hao was a little over 1.6 meters tall, and he was not much shorter than her. That was why her actions looked a little strange. However, Zhou Hao enjoyed it very much, because Li Ruolin's jade-like hands were very soft. "Oh right, I have already sewn your school uniform, but the blood stains on it. You need to go home to wash them." Li Ruolin returned the school uniform to Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao took the school uniform and saw that the original opening had been sewn up, leaving only a very inconspicuous trace. Li Ruolin's sewing was really good. Zhou Hao said gratefully, "Thank you, teacher. Your craftsmanship is already comparable to my mother's. This is what I learned in college." Li Ruolin looked really good when she smiled. "I still have classes later, so I'll go back first. You guys should be careful when you attend physical education classes." After saying that, she turned around and went back to the office building. Zhou Hao hugged his school uniform, and a warm feeling surged in his heart. Lu Shichao, who was beside him, said with envy, "You actually let Teacher Li sew your clothes for you. You're too hateful." In the next class, Zhou Hao did not listen carefully. He was worried about the changes in his body. First of all, his vision had changed. When he saved the beauty in the morning, his eyes were like a pair of binoculars. He could clearly see the screw on the signboard of the hotel from more than 50 meters away. In the conflict between him and Wen Xiaoqiang just now, when Wen Xiaoqiang attacked him, his movements seemed to have been slowed down by more than 10 times. Next was his body. His body suddenly became very strong. Muscles even grew out of his arms. In the morning, he also instantly sprinted more than 50 meters and saved the beauty. Could it be because of rebirth? Zhou Hao turned his head to look out the window and focused his vision. The situation in the morning appeared again. The scenery outside the window seemed to be magnified. Soon, Zhou Hao could see the veins of the tree leaves in the distance. Zhou Hao was shocked, and his vision immediately recovered. He was shocked and doubtful. He tried to focus his eyes again, and then the tree in the distance was magnified as quickly as before. Zhou Hao shook his head, and his vision returned to normal. Could it be that I really have the special ability? He thought in his heart, but this is not a bad thing. At least I don't have myopia problems anymore. Zhou Hao, I heard that you and I have been selected to participate in the English Olympics competition. When the class ended, Gao Jingyi suddenly turned around and said to Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao shrugged his shoulders. Yes, I heard that Chief Xiang is in charge of our pre-competition tutoring, but I can't participate. Zhou Hao was looking forward to Li Ruolin coming to his house to tutor him alone. What's wrong? Why can't you participate? Gao Jingyi's English was also very top-notch among the class, and as the representative of the English department in the class, she attached great importance to this English competition. I still have to go home to help my mom work after school. Do you think everyone has such good family conditions like you? Zhou Hao remembered that Gao Jingyi's family seemed to be a high official in the city government. Although she was a little proud and aloof, she did not have the bad habit of being a high official's daughter. Gao Jingyi did not comment on Zhou Hao's words, but she actually quite admired Zhou Hao in her heart. Although his family's conditions were difficult, he was still able to maintain the top 10 grades of the same grade. This was really not easy. All right, I heard that you had a conflict with Wen Xiaoqiang in the second year of high school during the physical education class, Gao Jingyi said. You have to be careful. He is famous for taking revenge for the smallest grievance. Hearing Gao Jingyi's words, Zhou Hao looked at her strangely. When did this arrogant princess care about him so much? Seeing Zhou Hao's puzzled gaze, Gao Jingyi lightly snorted. Don't think that I'm concerned about you. I just hate Wen Xiaoqiang. He is clearly just the son of a hooligan, but he is still so arrogant. Sometimes I really want my father to lock them up in jail. Zhou Hao nodded and thought to himself. It seemed like Wen Xiaoqiang had offended this princess as well. After school, Lu Shiqiao and Zhou Hao walked to the school gate. Zhou Hao, it's still early. Do you want to go to my house to play? No, I have something to do. Thinking about Wang Shijuan, Zhou Hao shook his head and refused Lu Shiqiao. Okay, see you tomorrow. Lu Shiqiao suddenly saw Luo Hui push the bicycle out of the school gate, so he immediately left Zhou Hao behind and ran over. Zhou Hao secretly laughed at Lu Shiqiao and Luo Hui's back. Then he walked towards No. 2 High School in Fragrant City. No. 2 High School in Fragrant City was near Yining Middle School. There were only 2 streets between the two of them. However, Yining Middle School was a key provincial high school, while No. 2 High School in Fragrant City was just an ordinary public high school. The difference in teaching quality between them was huge. At the entrance of the No. 2 High School in Fragrant City, Zhou Hao, who was wearing the uniform of the Yining Middle School, stood out among the students who kept rushing out of the school. Many students of secondary school were jealous and envious of the students of Yining Middle School, so when they saw Zhou Hao standing in front of their school gate, they all showed hostility in their eyes. However, Zhou Hao was very handsome, which attracted the attention of many girls in No. 2 Senior High School. After waiting here for more than 10 minutes, Zhou Hao found it strange that Wang Shijuan did not come out. Furthermore, he had a strange intuition in his heart. Wang Shijuan definitely did not come out because she was still in class, but for some other reason. At this time, Zhou Hao saw 2 men in ragged clothes. One look and he could tell they were not good students. They were talking and laughing as they walked towards the alley next to No. 2 Senior High School. He vaguely heard them say, "There's a show to watch." Zhou Hao subconsciously felt that this matter had something to do with Wang Shijuan, so he quietly followed behind the 2 boys from the No. 2 Senior High School. This alley led to an independent apartment complex. As each family did not frequent each other, very few people passed by the alley. Moreover, there was a corner at the entrance of the alley, which was completely separated from the bustling street outside. Zhou Hao followed the 2 boys into the alley. When he approached the corner, he heard the curses of women coming from inside, mixed with the cries of grievance. Furthermore, Zhou Hao felt that this cry sounded somewhat familiar. When he walked in again, Zhou Hao saw a scene that made him furious. Including the 2 boys who had just arrived, there were a total of 4 boys and 6 girls in the alley, a total of 10 people. The 2 long-haired girls in the innermost kept pushing a short-haired girl. They even slapped her and ruthlessly pinched her arm. Another girl was desperately tearing her school uniform. A large piece of snow-white skin under her neck and her thin undergarments were exposed. The girl even cursed as she cursed. "You like seducing men so much, don't you? I'll strip you naked right now and let everyone come and look at you." The rest of the boys and girls surrounded her. They kept cheering and cheering, and the boys were still staring at the girl's chest that was being bullied. This was typical school violence. The thing that made Zhou Hao the most furious was that the victim was actually Wang Shijuan. At this time, Wang Shijuan already had tears streaming down her face. She cried and begged those girls for mercy. At the same time, she hugged her chest tightly to protect her clothes. However, those girls did not care about her begging for mercy at all. Instead, they beat her up even more fiercely and tore her clothes. "Stop!" Zhou Hao roared angrily, and his angry roar echoed throughout the entire alley. Everyone in the alley was shocked by Zhou Hao's roar. They all turned around, and Wang Shijuan's tears became even more fierce when she saw Zhou Hao. Chu Chu called out, "Zhou Hao!" This call was filled with joy. It was also a cry for help. At the same time, it also caused Zhou Hao's anger to deepen. It was as if his eyes were about to shoot out flames. "Another man has come to save you. He is also a top student of Yining Middle School. I didn't expect you to be so capable." The girl who tore Wang Shijuan's school uniform grabbed Wang Shijuan's hair and sneered. After that, she said to Zhou Hao, "Handsome boy, what is there to like about this bitch? Why don't you be my boyfriend? Let her go." After saying that, Zhou Hao walked over aggressively. "Hey, kid, do you want to be a hero and save the damsel in distress? Have you asked us? This is not the territory of your Yutsai Middle School." A hooligan boy in front of Zhou Hao blocked his way. His face was full of provocation. Zhou Hao did not have the time to care about this guy. Without saying anything, he threw a punch at him. The boy did not expect Zhou Hao to punch him without even saying a word. Furthermore, Zhou Hao's movement was shockingly fast. The boy only saw Zhou Hao's fist getting bigger and bigger in front of his eyes. Then, he felt a sharp pain in his nose. He also flew up from the ground and crashed into the wall behind him. Blood immediately shot out from his face. Wow! The boy sat on the ground and felt pain and numbness on his face. He reached out and touched his nose, and found that his nose had been completely sunk in. Zhou Hao had broken his nose bridge. Seeing this, the other three boys immediately surrounded Zhou Hao. They also took out springs knives, screw knives, and other weapons. "You dare to be so arrogant in the territory of our number 2 senior high school? You must be tired of living." One of the boys who was holding a spring knife cursed fiercely. Wang Shijuan shouted at Zhou Hao, "Zhou Hao, leave quickly. Leave me alone." Zhou Hao looked at Wang Shijuan deeply. Although he did not say anything, his eyes seemed to be saying to Wang Shijuan, "Don't worry, I will come and save you immediately." Wang Shijuan was extremely touched when she saw Zhou Hao's eyes. The girl who grabbed her hair said coldly, "Do you feel good seeing a man willing to take risks for you?" As she spoke, she even gave Wang Shijuan 2 slaps. "Stop!" Zhou Hao cursed at the girl. At the same time, the 2 boys who were holding spring knives and screw knives stabbed at Zhou Hao at the same time. In the moment of crisis, Zhou Hao focused his eyes. In his eyes, their movements immediately slowed down. Zhou Hao did not delay. He took a step forward and snatched their weapons. He even kicked their chests heavily. The 2 of them saw Zhou Hao shake his right hand, and the weapons in their hands disappeared. Then, they felt a pain in their chests and were kicked away by Zhou Hao. They fell to the ground and couldn't get up for a long time. In the end, when the boy saw how powerful Zhou Hao was, he was hesitating whether he should go up or not. But Zhou Hao did not give him the chance. In the blink of an eye, Zhou Hao had arrived in front of him and punched him in the chin, sending him flying and crashing heavily onto the ground. After dealing with these boys, Zhou Hao walked towards Wang Shijuan with a cold face. Those girls did not expect Zhou Hao to be so fierce and fierce. In fear, they quickly retreated to the sides and made way for him. The girl who grabbed Wang Shijuan's hair also let go of Wang Shijuan. She looked at Zhou Hao, who was getting closer, and said timidly, "What do you want to do?" Zhou Hao looked at her coldly and then looked at her messy hair and clothes. Wang Shijuan's eyes immediately became gentle. He held Wang Shijuan's hand and gently pulled her into his arms, who was frightened. Leaning in Zhou Hao's embrace, feeling the warmth and aura from his body. Only then did Wang Shijuan dare to cry out loud, venting her grievances and fear. "It's all right. With me around, no one can bully you anymore," Zhou Hao said softly. At the same time, he tidied Wang Shijuan's clothes and caressed her hair and back, comforting her gently. "You are a great hero. You even saved your beauty. What else do you want?" The girl touched Zhou Hao's cold gaze and said with some fear, Zhou Hao raised his hand and gave her a fierce slap, knocking her to the ground. The other girls were stunned. They looked at Zhou Hao in silence, not daring to speak. The girl who was knocked to the ground touched her swollen face and bleeding lips. Then she looked up at Zhou Hao and said, "You dare to hit me? Do you know who I am? Do you know who my father is? I don't care who you are. I don't care who your dad is." Zhou Hao shouted coldly, "No matter who you are, if you dare to bully Shijuan again in the future, I will never forgive you." And you? Did you hear that? Under Zhou Hao's fury, even the girl who clearly had a backer did not dare to speak. 1. Get lost. Thus, these delinquent students supported each other and left the alley in a sorry state. Wang Shijuan, who was leaning in Zhou Hao's arms, did not cry anymore. However, her delicate shoulders still shrugged. She was like a little kitten that had been wronged. She was exceptionally lovable. However, she felt very warm in her heart. Just now, Zhou Hao was like a hero, saving her, who had fallen into the abyss of misery. Furthermore, he was filled with the manliness of scolding those delinquent girls. At this time, leaning in his embrace, Wang Shijuan only felt that her entire heart was about to be drunk. Zhou Hao held Wang Shijuan's face full of pity and used his thumb to gently wipe away the tears on her face. Zhou Hao felt sorry for her when he saw her watery eyes and her delicate expression. Under Zhou Hao's gentleness, Wang Shijuan's tears flowed out again. "They said that I seduced the boys in the class and also said that I was a shameless bitch, so they pulled me here." She looked at Zhou Hao. "Zhou Hao, I didn't seduce those boys. I know." After hearing Wang Shijuan's crying, Zhou Hao was filled with righteous indignation. Wang Shijuan was beautiful and lovely, so naturally she would be welcomed by the boys in the class. Those delinquent girls bullied her just because they were jealous of her. It was really infuriating. Wang Shijuan had always been a gentle and kind girl in Zhou Hao's heart. Seeing that she had suffered such a huge grievance, he was really sad. "Don't be afraid. In the future, with me around, I will protect you. No one can bully you." "I know. I knew you would come and save me just now." Wang Shijuan met Zhou Hao's gaze and said as if she was talking in her sleep. Facing Wang Shijuan, who was very close to him, and her delicate face that had not dried up yet, Zhou Hao could not restrain himself anymore. He lowered his head and kissed her soft lips. In her days, Wang Shijuan's lips felt soft and warm. It was only after a long while did she realize that she had actually kissed Zhou Hao. At this moment, her entire body stiffened. She did not know how to react, nor did she dare to reject Zhou Hao. Or rather, she did not want to reject him at all. There was only one thought left in her mind. Zhou Hao has kissed me. This kind of soft feeling is a kiss? Actually, she had also read Xiong Yao's romance novels. That kind of beautiful description of kissing filled her heart with fantasy. In addition, she had been in love with Zhou Hao for a long time, so sometimes she would also dream of kissing Zhou Hao in her dreams. However, the feeling of illusion in that dream was completely different from reality. It should be said that the kiss in reality made her even more intoxicated. However, she did not have any experience in this field after all, so she did not know how to react. She did not dare to move at all. Zhou Hao felt Wang Shijuan's stiff body. He thought he had scared her. He let go of her and said apologetically, "Sorry, Shijuan, I was too rude." Wang Shijuan's face was red, and she was so shy that she could not say anything. She just kept shaking her head. Both of them were silent, and for a moment, they could only hear their heartbeat. After a long time, Wang Shijuan lowered her head and bit her lips. She used a voice that was like a mosquito to say, "Zhou Hao, is this considered an early love?" Her expression was very shy. Her weak body was still trembling slightly. She was like a startled rabbit. Seeing Wang Shijuan like this, Zhou Hao felt his heart go numb. He hugged her and smiled. "Then let's have an early love." When Wang Shijuan heard this, her cheeks immediately flushed red like the burning clouds in the sky. She pursed her lips and timidly said, "But teacher will scold us." Although she said so, her face was filled with a very willing, shy expression. Although Zhou Hao was still a virgin in his previous life and now, it was not like he did not kiss. Wang Shijuan had never encountered such a situation before. She only felt a sense of suffocation and dizziness rush into her brain. But this feeling made her feel very comfortable, and she could not help but be lost in it. At this moment, Wang Shijuan felt that she was like a small boat drifting on the turbulent sea surface. Following the wave after wave, it rose and fell. Aya, whose family's child is so shameless. On the second floor of the small house, a fat middle-aged woman opened the window and saw Zhou Hao and Wang Shijuan kissing intensely in the alley. They were shocked by the sound, and both of them loosened up as if they were shocked by electricity. Zhou Hao also hurriedly pulled Wang Shijuan out of the alley as if they were escaping. When they came outside, Wang Shijuan held her knees and gasped for breath. It was not that she ran very far, but that her beautiful kiss with Zhou Hao just now made her feel suffocated. Zhou Hao was beside her, fondly massaging her back. When she finally managed to regulate her breathing, her face was still fiery red. Because the middle-aged woman had bumped into them when they kissed just now, it made her, a little girl who had never experienced love, shy and afraid. Let's go home. Zhou Hao saw Wang Shijuan's resentful gaze and smiled. He wanted to hold her hand, but she avoided it. There are a lot of people here. Wang Shijuan lowered her head and said shyly. Zhou Hao looked around and realized that this was a busy street. It was not appropriate to hold hands with her in public. After what happened just now, they could not go to the bookstore that they were supposed to go to, so they had to go home. However, on the way back, Wang Shijuan seemed to deliberately avoid him. She deliberately kept a distance from Zhou Hao, which made Zhou Hao laugh. When he returned home, Zhou Hao saw the note Yin Tong left on the table. She said that she was going to have a night shift tonight, so there was no need to wait for her to come back. Furthermore, she had also bought some vegetables and placed them in the fridge. It was dinner that Zhou Hao had to settle by himself. Zhou Hao put down his school bag and sat on the chair. He remembered what had happened just now. When he was dealing with the boys from the number 2 senior high school, he felt that his body reacted very quickly. He was also very strong. He could actually send someone flying with one punch. While thinking, Zhou Hao raised his right hand, clenched his fist, and said to himself, could this also be the special ability? However, Zhou Hao was more happy. After all, with this kind of power, not only could he protect himself, he could also protect others, such as his mother and Wang Shijuan. Zhou Hao thought of Wang Shijuan's beautiful and shy face and laughed from the bottom of his heart. That kiss just now was like piercing through the thin layer of paper between the two of them. Thinking of this, Zhou Hao realized that he really missed her. Thus, Zhou Hao went to the opposite side and knocked on Wang Shijuan's door. The one who opened the door was Wang Shijuan's younger brother, Wang Zhongcai. Wang Zhongcai was only a year younger than Wang Shijuan. He had just entered junior high school this year, and was in number 2 senior high school like Wang Shijuan. He was very close to Zhou Hao. When he saw Zhou Hao, he smiled and said, Brother Hao? Zhongcai, where's your sister? Wang Zhongcai said, my mom went to Granny's place today. She said she won't come back tonight. My sister is cooking in the kitchen. Wang Shijuan's mother was called Lu Shiping. She was the supervisor of a garment factory in Xiang City. Wang Shijuan's father had died a long time ago. It was Lu Shiping who raised them up. It was not easy for her. Hearing Wang Zhongcai's words, Zhou Hao said, what a coincidence. My mom also has night shifts. Why don't we eat together? Sure. As he spoke, Wang Zhongcai invited Zhou Hao into the room. As soon as he entered, he saw Wang Shijuan cooking in the kitchen with an apron on. Although she was only 14 years old, because Lu Shiping was busy with her work, Wang Shijuan was usually in charge of the siblings' daily life. Zhou Hao looked at Wang Shijuan's busy back in the kitchen and suddenly felt a very warm feeling in his heart. Do you think my sister is very virtuous? Wang Zhongcai, who was next to him, noticed Zhou Hao looking at his sister. He poked Zhou Hao's waist and whispered, Brother Hao, let me tell you, my sister has liked you for a long time. How do you know? Wang Zhongcai quietly pulled Zhou Hao to the side. I went to her room once and saw a piece of draft paper on the table. It was full of your name. I recognized that it was my sister's name. Thinking of Wang Shijuan writing his name on the paper over and over again, Zhou Hao suddenly had an indescribable feeling in his heart. It was as if there was a tiny stream flowing in his heart. But he still said, this doesn't mean anything. This means that she likes you. Otherwise, why didn't she write my name? I'm still her brother. Wang Zhongcai curled his lips and said. Wang Shijuan noticed the commotion over here. She turned around and saw Zhou Hao chatting with her younger brother. She couldn't help but recall the embarrassing scene just now, and her face immediately turned red. Look, my sister's face is even red. Wang Zhongcai felt that something was wrong. Even if Wang Shijuan liked Zhou Hao in the past, she would not show it so clearly. Therefore, he looked at Zhou Hao suspiciously. Brother Hao, did you do something to my sister a long time ago? Otherwise, why would she blush when she saw you? A layer of cold sweat appeared on Zhou Hao's forehead. He thought that Wang Zhongcai was too sensitive. After Zhou Hao firmly denied that he bullied Wang Shijuan, he hid in the kitchen and cooked with Wang Shijuan in order to get rid of Wang Zhongcai's entanglement. Wang Shijuan, on the other hand, was shy and nervous because Zhou Hao was there. She became flustered instead. 2. They finally finished cooking. The three of them gathered together for dinner. Wang Shijuan and Zhou Hao did not dare to say a word under Wang Zhongsai's suspicious gaze. They could only bury their heads in their meals, but they did not know that this only intensified Wang Zhongsai's suspicion. After dinner, Wang Zhongsai suddenly said, "Forget it. I will go to Brother Hao's house to watch TV. You two can do your homework here. I will not disturb you." After he said that, he walked out and left Zhou Hao and Wang Shijuan here. "It's all your fault. I will not be able to raise my head in front of him in the future." Wang Shijuan pouted. Zhou Hao shrugged. "Don't worry. Even if he really knows something, he probably won't tell your mother." He sat on the sofa at the back and picked up the newspaper he bought today to read. Wang Shijuan also trusted Wang Zhongsai. She believed that he wouldn't betray her. She saw that Zhou Hao did not hesitate to raise his leg and read the newspaper, just like the owner of the house. She glared at Zhou Hao. However, she still cleaned up the bowls and chopsticks, as if she was a good wife. What Zhou Hao was looking at was not the news of the government's meetings, or the traffic, but the news related to finance and economics. The domestic financial market had already started to develop. Some newspapers also had financial versions. It reported the movements of the various listed companies in stock exchange in Shanghai and Shenzhen. In 1996, the stock index of Shanghai and Shenzhen rose by a large margin, and there were more than 100 types of shares that increased by more than 5 times. Zhou Hao could clearly remember the largest share that had risen. From the reports in the newspapers, it seemed that the stock prices in his memory had indeed risen by a lot. From October onwards, cold wind blew from the management. The government issued a series of rules such as notifications on the standard identity of properties, management methods of stock exchange, and notifications on how to stop the distribution of shares from overdrafting, which were also known as 12 gold medallions. However, none of these could stop the rise of the market. It was now mid-October, and domestic stocks would only fall in December. Therefore, Zhou Hao still had 2 months to earn money. Wang Shijuan finished packing up and came out of the kitchen. She saw Zhou Hao sitting on the sofa with his legs crossed and reading the newspaper. His expression was unusually focused. So she asked, "Why are you suddenly interested in the news? Didn't you not read newspapers in the past?" Hearing Wang Shijuan's voice, Zhou Hao pulled himself out of those stocks and companies. Wang Shijuan stood in front of him. The few strands of hair on her forehead were still stuck to her forehead due to sweat. She looked like a hard-working and virtuous wife. Zhou Hao felt his heart soften and reached out to pull her to sit beside him. He also gently helped her straighten the strands of hair on her forehead. The expression on her face was even more focused than when she saw the financial version. Wang Shijuan allowed Zhou Hao to help her straighten her hair. Her face was red, and she felt that only Zhou Hao and herself were left in the room. At this moment, there was a vague and ambiguous atmosphere, but this kind of feeling was very enjoyable. After Zhou Hao wiped the sweat off Wang Shijuan's forehead, he did not withdraw his right hand, but touched her face. "Don't do it. You made me itch." Wang Shijuan grabbed Zhou Hao's hand with a red face. Zhou Hao took the opportunity to hold Wang Shijuan's hand and gently caressed it. Although Wang Shijuan had started doing housework since she was young, her hands did not have thick calluses like ordinary people. Her hands, on the other hand, were very tender and smooth. This made Zhou Hao feel that touching her hands was already a form of enjoyment. "Shijuan," Zhou Hao gently called out to her. Wang Shijuan's voice was soft. She turned her face away and did not dare to look at Zhou Hao. Wang Shijuan's shy look was very cute, making Zhou Hao stare unblinkingly. "I heard that you wrote my name all over the book. Is this true?" Wang Shijuan immediately looked up when she heard that. She said shyly, "I didn't." But when she saw the slyness in Zhou Hao's eyes, she said fiercely, "It must be Zhong Tsai who said it." Zhou Hao smiled and pulled her into his embrace. His hand was still gently caressing her back. Wang Shijuan had also instantly forgotten about Wang Zhongsai betraying her. She obediently lay in Zhou Hao's embrace and listened to Zhou Hao's heartbeat that came from beside her ear. Staring deeply into her beautiful eyes, Zhou Hao felt that her pair of eyes were watery and sparkling. Her eyes were like 2 peerless gems, and her own face was reflected in her eyes. It was as if he was the only one in her eyes. At this time, although Wang Shijuan had not grown up yet, she was still very beautiful. However, Zhou Hao felt that Wang Shijuan at this moment was more real and could move his heart even more. Facing Zhou Hao's increasingly gentle gaze, Wang Shijuan's heart also sped up and her entire body trembled. Then, she gently closed her eyes and her lips also slightly pouted. "Don't look." Wang Shijuan quickly pulled down her shirt and covered it with her hands. Wang Shijuan saw the stunned expression on Zhou Hao's face and felt ashamed and angry. When she was at a loss, tears flowed out. She covered her face and cried. When Zhou Hao saw Wang Shijuan cry, he was also annoyed by his actions just now. He hurriedly rubbed the little girl in his arms and carefully protected her. "It's all my fault. Don't cry. I will feel sorry for you." Wang Shijuan ignored Zhou Hao's words. She only covered her face tightly and sobbed. "It's all my fault. They were right. I am a shameless woman." Zhou Hao knew Wang Shijuan was thinking of those bad students who bullied her. She also hated himself for being so impulsive just now. "Shijuan, this is not your fault. It's all my fault. I was too impulsive. Why don't you hit me? Just hit me." As he spoke, he grabbed Wang Shijuan's hand and hit himself. How could Wang Shijuan bear to hit him? Instead, she looked at Zhou Hao with teary eyes. "Zhou Hao, do you think I'm a bad girl?" She looked pretty and pitiful. "I don't know. In my eyes, you're the best girl in the world," Zhou Hao said. "Really? If I lie, I will be hit by a car and drown." He did not finish his sentence. Wang Shijuan hugged him. She put her head on his shoulder and said, "I believe you. If you die, then I won't be able to live either." Wang Shijuan put her head on Zhou Hao's shoulder and gently smelled his breath. Zhou Hao also enjoyed this kind of intimacy. His right hand slowly caressed Wang Shijuan's back. Wang Shijuan asked a question. Even though Zhou Hao was reborn, he was still shocked by Wang Shijuan's question. Wang Shijuan felt very shy and did not dare to raise her head. She leaned on Zhou Hao's shoulder and whispered, "Because Situ Jinying said that boys like women with big breasts." "Situ Jinying? She is the girl you just slapped. She is my classmate." Wang Shijuan explained, "Her name is Situ Jinying. Her father is the director of the Xiang City Public Security Bureau." Hearing Wang Shijuan say this, Zhou Hao also recalled that delinquent girl in his mind. Situ Jianying was very delicate and pretty, and her appearance was not bad. It was just that her character was too bad. Moreover, she was also wearing the school uniform at that time, so Zhou Hao did not pay attention to her. "Zhou Hao, tell me, is it like this?" Wang Shijuan pushed Zhou Hao. Situ Jianying teased her more than once, especially now that she was with Zhou Hao. That was why she was very much in Zhou Hao's opinion. She was afraid that Zhou Hao would hate her. Zhou Hao smiled. Wang Shijuan's naked body was still in his mind. "You are only 14 years old this year. Your figure is already very good among your peers." He pinched Wang Shijuan's nose. "You still have a lot of time to develop. What is there to worry about? According to me, when you grow up, your chest must be bigger than Situ Jianying's." What he said was the truth. When Wang Shijuan grew up, her chest would be very full. Wang Shijuan let out a sigh of relief after hearing Zhou Hao's words. She started thinking again. She stared at Zhou Hao and said, "What did you just say? I'm already not bad among my peers? How do you know? Could it be that you've seen other girls before?" As she spoke, she put her hands on her hips and looked as if she was here to denounce him. Zhou Hao was stunned and quickly waved his hand to explain. "No, I only saw your naked body." In his heart, he thought that the women he had seen in there could not be taken seriously. So he did not lie to Wang Shijuan. "Then do you like me?" This was what Wang Shijuan wanted to ask the most. What she said earlier was just a foreshadowing. "Doesn't it mean that I like you because we are already like this?" Zhou Hao's words made Wang Shijuan very sweet, especially when she felt that her chest was numb again. This made her even more embarrassed. Indeed, she had always been an introverted girl. Usually, she rarely took the initiative to talk to boys in class. If she didn't really like Zhou Hao, she wouldn't have let him mess around with her just now. Now that Zhou Hao had made it clear to her, their relationship was confirmed. However, according to your current situation, you should be wearing a bra. Otherwise, this will affect your development. Zhou Hao stared at Wang Shijuan and said as he touched her. Wang Shijuan naturally knew what a bra was. But this kind of thing from a boy's mouth was still very embarrassing. Seeing Wang Shijuan's shy appearance, Zhou Hao's heart began to stir again. After that day, Zhou Hao would come to number 2 senior high school every afternoon to pick up Wang Shijuan after school. On the one hand, Zhou Hao did not want Wang Shijuan to be bullied by Situ Jianying and other bad students again. On the other hand, he wanted to increase their time alone. Because the two of them did not want the adults at home to know about this. They wanted to avoid unnecessary trouble. There were a few times when Zhou Hao saw Situ Jianying at the entrance of the number 2 senior high school. However, Situ Jianying and the others only dared to glare at Zhou Hao from afar. They did not dare to come over and provoke Zhou Hao. Wang Shijuan also said that ever since that day, Situ Jianying and the others did not dare to bully her in school anymore. Because he heard Wang Shijuan say that Situ Jianying had big breasts, Zhou Hao also secretly paid attention to her out of curiosity. Sure enough, he discovered that Situ Jianying's school uniform was bulging, and her breasts were much bigger than the other students of the same age. These few days, Zhou Hao had been paying attention to the stocks in his memory. He finally welcomed Saturday. On this day, Zhou Hao and Yin Tong brought 8,000 yuan to the newly opened Galaxy Securities Limited nearby. Zhou Hao and his mother borrowed 10,000 yuan from their eldest uncle, Zhou Lichang. 1,000 yuan was used to pay for Zhou Hao's tuition fees, and 1,000 yuan was saved for emergencies. The front door of the Galaxy Securities Limited was very imposing. A mighty stone lion stood on both sides of the entrance, and red silk was tied around the lion's neck. When he walked in, he saw that the hall was spacious and bright, and the bright yellow tiles on the floor were shining brightly. A few female employees wearing the same professional suit were all young and beautiful, with friendly smiles on their faces. More importantly, Zhou Hao saw a huge electronic board hanging on the wall. On it were the prices of each stock. After seeing the environment here, Zhou Hao sighed in his heart, such a grand display. In 1996, only a few powerful securities companies had the qualifications to install an electronic bulletin board. Because of this, Zhou Hao couldn't help but feel curious about the boss of this securities company. A customer manager with a bun on his head invited Zhou Hao and Yin Tong to the counter and let them sit down. Then she got someone to bring hot tea for them. Then the customer manager smiled and asked, "Madam, may I ask if you are here to open an account and invest in stocks?" Zhou Hao saw the Jin Xiaoqiu sign on the customer manager's chest and said to her, "Yes, we want to open an account." After that, Yin Tong took out her identification card and handed it to Jin Xiaoqiu. Jin Xiaoqiu took the identity card and took out another document. "Then please fill in this document first." Yin Tong took a look at the document, but did not know anything about the content on it. She looked at Zhou Hao with some difficulty. Zhou Hao smiled. "Let me do it." He took the pen from Jin Xiaoqiu and filled in the documents one by one. Jin Xiaoqiu looked at the mother and son pair and found that Yin Tong was completely led by Zhou Hao. She saw Zhou Hao, who still looked like a student, fill out those documents but was abnormally capable and capable. He seemed to be even more skilled than people like her who worked in the securities industry. Noticing Jin Xiaoqiu's puzzled gaze, Yin Tong smiled to herself. "Miss, I'm sorry to let you see a joke. Actually, I don't know anything about stocks. This time, I only opened my account because I listened to my son's words. If you have anything to ask, just ask him." Jin Xiaoqiu heard this and felt even more strange. Zhou Hao looked like he was at most a high school student, but he could bring his mother to the securities company to open an account. This was truly unheard of. At this time, Zhou Hao handed the documents back to her. "Miss Jean, I filled it out. Take a look." Jin Xiaoqiu took the document and looked at it carefully. She found that Zhou Hao had filled out every single one of the documents very carefully. Even some professional terms that even industry insiders might not be able to understand did not make it difficult for him. She was even more surprised in her heart. However, she did not need to waste her time explaining these professional terms to Zhou Hao. She asked, "Then I would like to ask, how much do you want to invest? Which stock do you want?" Zhou Hao took out a piece of paper and handed it to Jin Xiaoqiu. On it were the 4 shares he had written beforehand. The shares of these 4 shares varied from a few yuan to a dozen yuan. Zhou Hao said, "These 4 stocks, help me buy 2,000 yuan each." Looking at these few stocks, Jin Xiaoqiu knew that they were the stocks that rose the most this year. She also heard that Zhou Hao was going to invest a total of 8,000 yuan in them. In 1996, 8,000 yuan was not a small sum of money. Frowning, she said to Zhou Hao and Yin Tong, "As my clients, I have a duty to remind you." Although the rise of these 4 shares was very strong, the situation in China's stock market this year was very unusual. Many shares have been rising crazily for almost a year. The country has also urgently issued several laws to adjust the stock market. She looked at the two of them seriously. "So I want to remind the two of you to think about it carefully. If you are not careful, the money will be stuck." "Madam, do you still want to open an account?" Jin Xiaoqiu's words proved that she was a very responsible customer manager. She would rather reduce the number of customers than see the customers suffer losses. After Yin Tong heard Jin Xiaoqiu's words, she said to Zhou Hao with a worried look, "Xiao Hao, look at what she said. The stock market is not something people like us play with. If we lose this money, we will not be able to return it to others." "Mom, you don't have to worry. I know what I'm doing." Zhou Hao held Yin Tong's hand. He said to Jin Xiaoqiu again, "Miss Jean, I know you mean well, but we have already decided. Help us open the account. Little friend, I see that your family is not very well off. Now that this stock market is in chaos, many rich people do not dare to casually enter. I think you should reconsider. No need. Miss Jean, you also said earlier that we are customers. You can't reject our request, right? Zhou Hao knew Jin Xiaoqiong's good intentions towards him, but he could not tell Jin Xiaoqiong that he actually knew how long these shares would rise. Jin Xiaoqiong saw that Zhou Hao was still insisting on his opinion and could not help but be a little angry. Don't tell me you really won't think about your mother? You borrowed this money. If this money is lost, what do you have to return it to others? Yin Tong and Zhou Hao were stunned by Jin Xiaoqiong's accusation. Jin Xiaoqiong also realized that as a customer manager, she could not speak to customers like this. But since she had already said it, she could not take it back. What's going on? Xiaoqiong, why are you criticizing the client? A clear and melodious female voice sounded behind Zhou Hao. Jin Xiaoqiong's face also turned pale. Ms. Zhao. Zhou Hao felt that this female voice was somewhat familiar. When he turned around to look, he saw a beauty with her hair tied up high walking over. She was also wearing a professional suit, but she was much more beautiful than the other salesmen. She had a mature charm to her. A white chiffon shirt with a black jacket. The waist of the shirt was narrow, and her figure looked tall and straight. Below was a fitting pair of black pants which made her legs look unusually long and slender. The moment this beauty walked into the hall, Zhou Hao felt that the bright light had suddenly dimmed. He only felt that her eyebrows were like a painting, her posture and appearance were filled with charm. Those young and beautiful female salesmen also instantly became a foil. Furthermore, Zhou Hao discovered that this beauty was actually the person he saved on the way to school the other day. It's you. Both of them exclaimed at the same time. The beauty obviously recognized Zhou Hao. She quickly walked towards Zhou Hao. Her high heels made a sound as they stepped on the tiles. Zhou Hao also stood up from his chair. She came in front of Zhou Hao and grabbed his hand in an instant. I finally found you. I saw you wearing the uniform of Yuning that day. I originally wanted to go to your school to look for you, but I was afraid it would affect your class, so I didn't go. Before Zhou Hao could say anything, Yin Tong, who was beside him, quickly stood up and said to her, Miss, I'm sorry. Did Xiao Hao cause trouble? I'm sorry. I apologize to you on his behalf. He's still young. Don't blame him. The beauty and Zhou Hao were both stunned by Yin Tong. 3. After a while, the beauty finally smiled. She explained to Yin Tong, Auntie, you misunderstood. This little brother did not cause any trouble. That day when I was walking on the street, a road sign fell down. I was almost overwhelmed. Fortunately, he saved me in time. However, before I could thank him, he left. I didn't expect to see him again today. So you are the little hero Ms. Zhao talked about that day, Jin Xiaoqiong also said. Only then did Yin Tong heave a sigh of relief, and Zhou Hao also said to the beauty, Miss, are you also working here? I am the general manager here. This Galaxy Securities is owned by me. She suddenly patted Zhou Hao's head. Also, my name is Zhao Yuqin. According to your age, you should call me Big Sister. What's your name? Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao said, also, this is my mother, Yin Tong. Zhou Hao was very surprised to see the mature and beautiful Zhao Yuqin. Just now, he was wondering who could open such a large securities company. So it was her. Auntie, hello? Zhao Yuqin greeted Yin Tong seriously. If it wasn't for Xiao Hao that day, I'm afraid I would have died on the streets. I also never had the chance to thank him. She said, oh right. Why are you guys here? You guys want to stock up too? Hence, Jin Xiaoqiong told Zhao Yuqin about what happened earlier. Zhao Yuqin heard that Zhou Hao wanted to buy those 4 shares and immediately frowned. Xiao Hao, this year's China stock market is very unusual and the higher-ups have decided to rectify it. Now is not the time to invest money. Not to mention that Zhou Hao saved her life. Even if they were just ordinary friends, Zhao Yuqin did not want to see him suffer losses. Zhou Hao felt really helpless right now and did not know how to explain it to them. He saw Zhou Hao's bitter face and helpless look. Zhao Yuqin also could not bear to force him anymore. She turned her head and said to Jin Xiaoqiong, Xiaoqiong, help them open the account. But, Ms. Zhao. Jin Xiaoqiong saw that Zhao Yuqin actually agreed to let Zhou Hao open the account and could not help but become anxious. Go, but you should use the company's money first, Zhao Yuqin said. Zhou Hao quickly refused. Ms. Zhao, how can this be? How can we use your money to buy shares? Yin Tong also said, that's right. Miss Zhao, this won't do. Zhao Yuqin shook her head. Since he is so confident, I will trust him for once. You can return this money to me after the shares you bought have increased. If you really lose money, you don't have to worry. It will be better if you slowly pay it back. She originally wanted to say that she didn't need to pay back, but she was afraid that Zhou Hao and his mother would refuse. In the end, Zhou Hao still accepted Zhao Yuqin's good intentions. He promised that he would definitely return the money to her within a month, but Zhao Yuqin and Yin Tong did not know where Zhou Hao's confidence came from. After that, Zhao Yuqin said that she wanted to treat Zhou Hao and his mother to a meal. She wanted to thank Zhou Hao for saving her last time. Yin Tong, of course, tactfully refused. But Zhou Hao thought in his heart, Zhao Yuqin was only in her 20s and was able to open this Galaxy Securities. Her family background were definitely not simple. If he could make friends with her, it would be very beneficial to his future development. So he agreed, which made Yin Tong blame him. After coming out of the Galaxy Securities, Zhao Yuqin brought Zhou Hao and his son to the silver Mercedes-Benz parked at the door. Zhou Hao was surprised once again when he saw the large Mercedes-Benz. In 1996, not everyone could drive such a car. Xiao Hao, auntie, get in the car. Zhao Yuqin sat in the driver's seat and started the car. She said to Zhou Hao and the others. Yin Tong had never been in a car in her entire life. Not to mention this luxury Mercedes-Benz. She was so nervous that she didn't know what to do. In the end, Zhou Hao opened the rear door and let her in, while he sat in the front passenger seat. Zhao Yuqin was very skilled, and the open Mercedes-Benz drove smoothly on the road. They soon arrived at the Tianbin Hotel in the center of Xiang City. There was a 3-star hotel in the Tianbin Hotel. It was 15 stories high, and it was the most luxurious hotel in the Xiang City. It used to be the guest house of the Xiang City government. 2 years ago, it was privately funded and renovated into the Tianbin Hotel. The Xiang City government also held 40% of the shares. They followed Zhao Yuqin into the hall of the Tianbin Hotel. A receptionist in a red qipao greeted Zhao Yuqin. Miss Zhao, the room you booked is ready. As she spoke, she brought Zhao Yuqin and Zhou Hao into the elevator and went straight up to the 15th floor. Zhou Hao and Yin Tong had never been to Tianbin Hotel. In his last life, Zhou Hao yearned for this place very much. He swore that he would definitely come here when he earned money in the future. However, Tianbin Hotel had closed down due to bad management when Zhou Hao went to college, so Zhou Hao did not have the chance to fulfill his promise. The receptionist brought Zhao Yuqin and the other two to a room on the 15th floor called Rose. The room was very spacious. Other than a large dining table, there was also a sofa and a television. Through the glass on the other side, they could also see the Hongford Park behind Tianbin Hotel. The scenery was very open and charming. After sitting down, Zhao Yuqin quickly ordered more than 10 dishes from the receptionist. There was no lack of shark fins, abalones, lobsters, and other expensive dishes. This made Zhou Hao and Yin Tong secretly surprised. They thought that just this meal alone was no less than 1,000 yuan. Ms. Zhao, you are a regular customer here, right? Everyone here seems to know you. Zhou Hao asked with a smile. Just now when they came up, a few waiters respectfully greeted Zhao Yuqin. Zhao Yuqin smiled brightly. Many times I come here to eat with customers. Over time, the people here know me. Ms. Zhao, your Galaxy Securities has just opened, and you already have so many customers. Your company has a lot of potential. Zhou Hao said. I'm not talking about the Galaxy's customers, Ms. Zhao said. Zhao Yuqin said, before I went to Galaxy, I ran a trading company that specialized in buying and selling goods from Hong Kong to the mainland. Hearing Zhao Yuqin's words, Zhou Hao's heart became lively again. Because he knew that before Hong Kong returned, in order to do business from Hong Kong to the mainland, one must have a strong government backing, or else it would not be possible. From this, it could be seen that Zhao Yuqin's backing was definitely not simple. Zhao Yuqin saw Zhou Hao's eyes darting around and guessed what he was thinking. She could not help pinching his nose and said with a smile, You are only so young, and you have so many thoughts? It saves you from making random guesses. I'll tell you. She poured Zhou Hao and Yin Tong a cup of sweet wine. My brother is the commander of the Guangzhou military. Thanks to his help, my trading company was able to be set up. Zhou Hao almost spat out the sweet wine in his mouth. He did not expect Zhao Yuqin to have such a powerful backer. However, a military commander's rank was at least at the general level. Zhao Yuqin's brother would definitely not be too young. My brother is 46 this year. He is older than me by 20 years. Zhao Yuqin drank a mouthful of sweet wine. My father only gave birth to me when he was 40 years old. Then what is your father's identity? Zhao Yuqin's elder brother was already the commander of the military. Then her father's background must be even more powerful. Zhao Yuqin glanced at Zhou Hao. He is a member of the military commissar. Zhou Hao fiercely sucked in a breath of cold air. He was a central officer. Xiao Hao, you don't think of me as Miss Guan like the others, do you? Zhao Yuqin showed a slightly reproachful look. But in fact, you are really Miss Guan. I can't lie to myself and treat you as a woman who is setting up a stall on the street, right? Zhou Hao smiled bitterly and said, besides, the person who set up the stall is not as beautiful as you. Zhao Yuqin was provoked by Zhou Hao and laughed. She pinched his nose again. You are only a child. How do you know what is called beautiful? Although she said that, she was still very happy in her heart. Zhou Hao could talk and laugh with Zhao Yuqin. Yin Tong did not have the guts. As a typical commoner, Yin Tong had a strong sense of responsibility in her heart. This caused her to be very reserved in front of Zhao Yuqin. She was deeply afraid that she would anger her if she said something wrong. Zhao Yuqin was very good at reading people's expressions. Moreover, she had worked in the business for many years, and her social skills were also very strong. She used a few words to make Yin Tong's restraint disappear. This made Zhou Hao, who was at the side, admire her very much. Xiao Hao, your grades in school are very good, right? Zhao Yuqin smiled at Zhou Hao and said, Yuning is a very good school. I used to study there. Xiao Hao, work harder. When you graduate, come and help me. Ms. Zhao, you are also a student of Yuning? Zhou Hao smiled and said, then aren't you my senior? That's right. In the future, if there's anything you don't understand in your studies, feel free to ask me. Zhao Yuqin also smiled and said, although the sweetness wine did not have a lot of energy, after a few cups, Zhao Yuqin's originally snow-white face started to blush. This made her look even more charming and attractive, making Zhou Hao's heart jump. Yin Tong had just gone to the toilet, so only Zhou Hao and Zhao Yuqin were left in the room. Zhao Yuqin saw Zhou Hao's gaze secretly flowing on her face, so she stretched out her finger and hooked it on his chin. The corner of her mouth revealed an intoxicating smile. What are you looking at? Zhou Hao saw that Zhao Yuqin's beautiful eyes were somewhat blurred. He thought that Ms. Zhao might be drunk. At the same time, he also hurriedly retracted his gaze and did not dare to look at her again. Zhou Hao's shy appearance in front of her made Zhao Yuqin even more interested. Xiao Hao, you saved me that day. I haven't properly thanked you yet. Why didn't you thank me? Ms. Zhao, the money you lent me in this meal, these are all not counted. Zhou Hao sat up straight and looked at the cup in front of him. He did not dare to have any impudence in his eyes. You saved my life. How can I repay you so easily? The smile on Zhao Yuqin's face became even wider. If it was in the ancient times, I could already devote my life to you. Her coquettish eyes looked at Zhou Hao's still immature but already very handsome face. I see that you are not bad-looking. Even if I give my body to you, it would not be a loss. 3. She leaned over to Zhou Hao's side and said, you might as well be my pretty boy. She even lightly kissed Zhou Hao on the face. Zhou Hao's face felt soft and moist. He felt that his mind was blank, and there seemed to be something violently flowing in his body. Just as he was about to react, he saw Zhao Yuqin had already sat up straight. The expression on her face also returned to normal, and she no longer had that seductive expression from before. At this time, Yin Tong also came back after going to the toilet. Following that, there was also a waiter who carried the dishes in. Zhou Hao used the corner of his eye to secretly look at Zhao Yuqin beside him, only to see her sitting there with a dignified and generous manner. This made Zhou Hao think that what happened just now was just an illusion. At this time, Zhao Yuqin also lightly glanced at him. Her eyes were full of slyness. Being swept by Zhao Yuqin's gaze, Zhou Hao's heart beat faster. He thought that she really knew how to seduce people. More than 10 dishes were served very quickly. Just as the three of them were about to pick up their chopsticks, the door of the room was pushed open again. A man in his early 30s, dressed in a proper suit, walked in. After seeing Zhao Yuqin, his face immediately revealed an excited smile. Yuqin, why didn't you tell me that you came? After this man appeared, Zhao Yuqin's original smile disappeared. A trace of annoyance flashed across her eyes. I came just because I wanted to. Why should I tell you? I'm not familiar with you. How can you say that? Are these two your friends? When the man saw Zhou Hao and Yin Tong, he felt a little strange. Firstly, from Zhou Hao and Yin Tong's age, they should not be Zhao Yuqin's friends. Second, he saw that Zhou Hao and his mother were dressed in ordinary clothes. They should not have interacted with people like Zhao Yuqin, who had power and money. Although the man's expression was not obvious, Zhou Hao could clearly see the contempt in his eyes. A trace of anger rose in his heart. Zhao Yuqin, who was beside him, also noticed Zhou Hao's dissatisfaction. She also did not like this man. She introduced him to Zhou Hao. This is the boss of Tianbin Hotel, Fanliza. After she finished speaking, she went to Zhou Hao's ear and whispered, his father is the mayor of Guangzhou. Fanliza saw Zhao Yuqin intimately whispering into Zhou Hao's ear. Even though Zhou Hao is only 14 years old, he could not help but feel a little jealous. He heard Zhao Yuqin say to him, "Mr. Fan, I am eating with my friend. If you have nothing else to do, please go out." "Yuqin, I have something to talk to you about." Fan Liza said, "Today is my birthday, so I want to treat you to dinner." "Sorry, I am not free tonight," Zhao Yuqin said indifferently. "Since today is your birthday, I wish you a happy birthday." When Fan Liza left the room dejectedly, Zhou Hao looked at Zhao Yuqin with a smile. "Ms. Zhao, he wants to pursue you, right?" Zhao Yuqin used her chopsticks to knock on his head not lightly or heavily. "You are just a child. Don't bother about adults." After eating in Tianbin Hotel, Zhao Yuqin sent Zhou Hao and Yin Tong home. Before they left, Zhao Yuqin pinched Zhou Hao's face and said with a smile, "In 2 days, I will come and play with you." Zhao Yuqin looked at Zhou Hao's handsome face that was brimming with heroic spirit. Taking advantage of Yin Tong not noticing, she quickly kissed Zhou Hao on the face. "You are already so handsome now. Won't you be even more handsome in the future?" After Zhao Yuqin said that, she did not wait for Zhou Hao's reaction and turned back to the car and left. Zhou Hao looked at the speeding car that was speeding away and touched the place Zhao Yuqin kissed on his face with a confused expression. In the afternoon, Zhou Hao finished his homework for the weekend very quickly. In his previous life, he received a scholarship every year during his university life, so the homework for junior high school was not difficult for him at all. Coincidentally, Wang Shijuan came over to find Zhou Hao to accompany her to the bookstore, so Zhou Hao was naturally happy to agree. It took them 15 minutes to walk to Xinhua bookstore. Just as the two of them left the street downstairs, Zhou Hao reached out and held Wang Shijuan's slender hand. Wang Shijuan wanted to pull it back, but Zhou Hao held it tightly and said to her at the same time, "No one here knows us, and no one will meddle in other people's business. Don't worry." Wang Shijuan could not resist Zhou Hao's insistence, so Wang Shijuan could only let him do as he pleased. However, this feeling of 10 fingers interlocking was also very charming. Along the way, Wang Shijuan's face was very red and very cute. Zhou Hao looked at her shy and lovely appearance and felt that it was really pleasing to the eye. When they came to Xinhua bookstore, Wang Shijuan was unwilling to let Zhou Hao hold her hand no matter what, because this was a place where the teachers and students of the school often visited. It was not good to be seen and affected. Wang Shijuan came here to buy 2 revision materials for the middle school examination, because with Zhou Hao's results, he would definitely be able to enter the middle school of Yining Middle School. Wang Shijuan really hoped to be able to study in the same school as Zhou Hao, so she was also very diligent in her studies. However, Zhou Hao knew that although Wang Shijuan was very hardworking in her studies, in the end, she still could not get into Yining Middle School and could only go to City No. 1 High School to study in high school. In the end, she also did not get into university. After graduating from high school, she married into Hong Kong. Since Zhou Hao had already been resurrected, he naturally would not let this happen. He wanted to keep Wang Shijuan by his side. Although many years had passed, he could still clearly remember the exam questions of the middle school examination back then. He also did not know if the teacher who produced the test papers back then was lazy. Many of the questions came from a book called Outline of High School Entrance Examinations. Thus, he brought Wang Shijuan around Xinhua bookstore. Finally, he found the outline of high school entrance examination of 5 subjects on a bookshelf. Zhou Hao flipped through it and indeed saw those familiar questions inside. "You can buy these 5 materials. Are these good?" Wang Shijuan also flipped through them and felt that the questions of these 5 books were not as typical as the questions of other materials. "Our teacher recommended it. You believe me? I'm definitely right." Zhou Hao brought Wang Shijuan to the counter and took out his money to buy it. The 5 outline of high school entrance examinations cost more than $40. Wang Shijuan did not bring enough money, and Zhou Hao gave her another $20. And this way, the two of them didn't have much money left on them. After they came out of Xinhua bookstore, the sun had already set, and the sky was dark blue. The hawkers selling various kinds of snacks also appeared on the side of the road. All kinds of tempting fragrance filled the street, making Zhou Hao and Wang Shijuan feel hungry. Zhou Hao saw Wang Shijuan looking at the food with anticipation and looked forward. Zhou Hao saw a stall that was transformed from a tricycle. A man was making green onion pancakes there. Zhou Hao held Wang Shijuan's hand and walked over. He recognized this scallion pancake. That man came from the north. The pancakes he made were very delicious. He was still there even after Zhou Hao went to university. 2 pancakes. Zhou Hao gave the man $1. "Okay, this is the pancake that just came out of the pot. You can eat it while it's hot." The man also enthusiastically wrapped 2 pancakes in the newspaper and handed them to Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao and Wang Shijuan each took one. They only felt that the pancakes were crispy and tender and delicious. especially Zhou Hao. He had not eaten them for many years. This time, he tasted it again. It was really a different taste in his heart. You are so careless when eating. Wang Shijuan gently pinched the little pancake at the corner of Zhou Hao's mouth. Your girlfriend is very gentle. The man selling pancakes smiled at Zhou Hao and said, My wife is not so considerate. Wang Shijuan immediately blushed when she heard the man's words. She could only lower her head and eat her pancakes. Zhou Hao was also very proud and secretly grabbed Wang Shijuan's hand. At this moment, Zhou Hao saw a few people walking towards him from afar. The two people in the lead were Situ Jianying and Wen Xiaoqiang. Behind them were a few people whose hair was dyed in various colors. One look, and one could tell that they were gangsters in society. These two people had conflicts with him. Situ Jianying had been slapped by him. Wen Xiaoqiang had wanted to hit him when he was at the basketball court. They knew each other? When Zhou Hao saw Situ Jianying and Wen Xiaoqiang coming together, he immediately frowned. However, Zhou Hao thought about it. Wen Xiaoqiang's father was the leader of the gangsters, and Situ Jianying's father was the director of the Public Security Bureau. It was not strange that they knew each other. Let's go. Zhou Hao knew that Situ Jianying and Wen Xiaoqiang must be looking for trouble with him. Wang Shijuan also saw Situ Jianying and Wen Xiaoqiang in the distance, so she nodded and followed Zhou Hao quickly. Zhou Hao could run, but he could run. Wang Shijuan was a little girl, so she could not run very far. In the end, the two of them were still caught by Wen Xiaoqiang and the others. You brought your little girlfriend out to shop. Wen Xiaoqiang sneered and said, When you saw us, why did you leave without even saying hello? You are still a student of Yining Middle School? You are so rude. Situ Jianying, who was next to Wen Xiaoqiang, also stared at Zhou Hao with hatred. He gritted his teeth and said, You slapped me last time. I will return it to you today. What do you want? Zhou Hao asked Wang Shijuan to stand behind him. Stinking brat. Wen Xiaoqiang said, Last time at the basketball court, I didn't beat him up. You're not so lucky today. He looked at the bustling streets around him. I don't think you want to be beaten up in public either. Come, let's go over there. Thus, they brought Zhou Hao and Wang Shijuan into an alley nearby. All right, today, I will settle the score with you. Situ Jianying crossed her arms, and her face was full of pride. You are so bold to even hit Situ Jianying. I have to admire you for this. Wen Xiaoqiang smiled at Zhou Hao. Indeed, Situ Jianying's father was the director of the Public Security Bureau. Therefore, Wen Xiaoqiang was usually very respectful to her. He often helped her teach those who had offended her a lesson, which indirectly increased her arrogance. And that Wang Shijuan. Situ Jianying saw Wang Shijuan and Zhou Hao's hands were still tightly clenched, and the hatred in her heart became even stronger. You guys raped Wang Shijuan. Let's see if she still dares to pretend to be innocent. 3. When Situ Jianying's words came out, Wang Shijuan's expression changed drastically. If she was really raped by Wen Xiaoqiang and the others, her life would be over. She was so scared that she trembled and tightly hugged Zhou Hao's arm. All right. When Wen Xiaoqiang saw the beautiful and lovely Wang Shijuan, his eyes also released a strong desire. She should still be a virgin, right? Then tonight the few of US brothers can have fun. The few gangsters behind him were also very excited. Zhou Hao narrowed his eyes. He looked at Situ Jianying and Wen Xiaoqiang with eyes full of anger. Especially Situ Jianying. Wang Shijuan did not provoke her at all, but she had bullied Wang Shijuan from the beginning to the end. Now, she even wanted people to rape Wang Shijuan. This was unforgivable. What are you looking at? Do you think you can still save her? Wen Xiaoqiang looked at Zhou Hao angrily. Zhou Hao gently patted Wang Shijuan's hand. You don't have to be afraid if you stay here. I will protect you. Be careful. If you have the chance, run away. Don't worry about me. Wang Shijuan said. You want me to leave you here? Unless I die, I will not do this. After saying that, Zhou Hao walked straight towards Wen Xiaoqiang, leaving an unusually tall figure behind for Wang Shijuan. Wen Xiaoqiang saw Zhou Hao walking towards him and sneered, Do you want to be a hero? Zhou Hao did not wait for Wen Xiaoqiang to finish speaking. He raised his fist and punched him in the face. Zhou Hao knew that it was useless to reason with these people. The only way was to be fiercer than them and scare them. Wen Xiaoqiang was forced to take a few steps back by Zhou Hao. He raised his hand and touched his face. His face was swollen. He cursed, Good. No one dares to hit me like this. All of you. Hit him. Following his voice, the few punks charged forward aggressively. However, in Zhou Hao's eyes, their movements were no different from a snail. They simply could not touch Zhou Hao. After Zhou Hao moved his hands and feet a few times, those hoodlums all fell to the ground and could not get up. When Xiaoqiang and Situ Jinying both looked at Zhou Hao in shock. Because these gangsters usually fought fiercely, even a strong man could be knocked down by them. Today, they were so easily beaten up by Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao also looked at his fist in surprise. He didn't know if it was because of the special ability on his body. His strength had increased again, and his hands and feet had become much more agile than before. Zhou Hao didn't think about the reason anymore. In any case, the stronger his special ability was, the happier he would be. He raised his head and looked at Wen Xiaoqiang and Situ Jianying, then clenched his fists again. Wen Xiaoqiang looked at the furious Zhou Hao and gritted his teeth. Without saying anything, he turned around and ran away. Wen Xiaoqiang ran more than 10 meters away and shouted loudly, "Just you wait and see. I will definitely take revenge." After saying that, he ran out of the alley. Situ Jianying also wanted to run, but she was caught by Zhou Hao before she could even take 2 steps. "What do you want to do?" Situ Jianying was also afraid at this time. "My dad is the police chief. If you hit me, I will let my dad arrest you and send you to jail." "You dare to say that your dad is the police chief?" Zhou Hao was also angry. "Then you instigated Wen Xiaoqiang and the others to rape Shijuan. You are also breaking the law. You are an evil person. I will rape you first." As he spoke, he fiercely grabbed her and pressed her down. Situ Jianying did not wear the number 2 senior high school uniform today. Instead, she wore a pair of jeans and a yellow sleeveless shirt. She was over 1.6 meters tall and was considered very outstanding among her peers. Furthermore, her breasts were bulging. The people who saw her thought at the same time, "Is she really only 14 years old?" Her breasts were more than 2 cups bigger than Wang Shijuan's. Situ Jianying was still unable to react when Zhou Hao attacked her chest. She suddenly screamed. At the same time, the few gangsters who were knocked down by Zhou Hao got up in a sorry state and ran out of the alley one after another. Situ Jianying quickly shouted, "Don't run, save me." Zhou Hao looked at the gangsters who were running away and sneered at Situ Jianying. "No one can save you now, right?" Suddenly, he saw a familiar figure passing by outside the alley. It was Wang Shijuan's mother, Lu Shiping. He turned around and said to Wang Shijuan, "Shijuan, your mother just passed by outside. You should go home with her first to prevent her from worrying about you." "But," Wang Shijuan timidly asked Zhou Hao, "you are not going back with me? Do you really want to?" Zhou Hao was slightly stunned and quickly withdrew the hand that was pressing on Situ Jianying's chest. "Of course not, but I have to teach her a lesson so that she won't cause trouble for us again. Go quickly. Otherwise, your mother will be gone." "Since that's the case, I'll go back first." Wang Shijuan hesitated for a moment and finally agreed. She believed it. Zhou Hao wasn't the type to bully girls. Situ Jianying saw that Wang Shijuan was also about to leave and hurriedly shouted, "Wang Shijuan, don't leave me here alone. He will rape me." "Don't worry, Zhou Hao will not be that kind of person." Wang Shijuan turned around and said to Situ Jianying before leaving the alley. She now hated Situ Jianying very much. If Zhou Hao wasn't here today, she would have suffered misfortune. So she also agreed that Zhou Hao would teach her a lesson. Now, only Zhou Hao and Situ Jianying were left in the silent and dark alley. Situ Jianying knew that she couldn't outrun Zhou Hao, and Zhou Hao had also forced her into a corner, leaving her with no way to escape. She looked at Zhou Hao's bright eyes and said with a trembling voice, "Zhou Hao, don't act recklessly. Just now, I said that letting people rape Wang Shijuan was a joke. Don't take it seriously." She leaned against the wall and used her 2 hands to protect her chest. "I won't cause trouble for you and Wang Shijuan in the future. I swear." "Do you think I will believe you?" Zhou Hao approached Situ Jianying. "I have seen many people like you. If I don't teach you a lesson, you will not be obedient." "No." Situ Jianying did not dare to admit it. "You are very proud of your figure, right?" "No." Actually, she often teased other girls in school. She felt that her figure was the best even in school. Zhou Hao grabbed the hem of her clothes and fiercely lifted it up. "Don't be like this, I beg you." Situ Jianying's tears trickled down. She did not dare to resist Zhou Hao and could only plead with him. However, the dark surroundings and Situ Jianying's weak appearance gave Zhou Hao an evil desire in his heart. His hands started to move wildly. "Zhou Hao, please, don't do this to me," Situ Jianying cried. In fact, Zhou Hao guessed wrong. Although Situ Jianying had always been overbearing and was with someone like Wen Xiaoqiang, she was still a virgin. Because her family background was very powerful, so she looked down on everyone. She looked down on the other boys, so why would she have sex with them? She had grown up, and not a single boy had ever held her hand, much less treated her like Zhou Hao. Suddenly, Zhou Hao had an inexplicable feeling, as if danger was approaching. He looked out of the alley, let go of Situ Jianying, and pulled her towards the depths of the alley. Situ Jianying was frightened by Zhou Hao's actions. She thought he was going to pull her into the alley to rape her and refused to go in. I'm not going. Zhou Hao, please, I really won't look for trouble with you. Don't talk. Someone's coming. Zhou Hao covered her mouth, ignored her resistance, and forcefully pulled her to the back of the big garbage bin at the end of the alley and squatted to hide. At the same time, a tall man walked in from outside the alley with a red, white, and blue bag in his hand. Besides, this man had blonde hair and blue eyes. He was foreigner. On one side of the alley was an empty residential building that was about to be disassembled. On the other side was the wall of the construction site that had been suspended for a long time. Therefore, there would not be anyone on normal days. Foreigner stood in front of the tightly shut iron door of the residential building with a bag in hand. He also looked at his watch from time to time, as if he was waiting for someone. Zhou Hao and Situ Jianying hid behind the trash can. Zhou Hao felt that this foreign man was not a good person. Situ Jianying, who was beside him, wanted to shout for help when she saw someone coming. However, Zhou Hao covered her mouth tightly and she could not make a sound. Zhou Hao went close to her ear and whispered a warning, "If you dare to make a sound, I will also take off your pants." Situ Jianying was afraid of Zhou Hao's power and could only obey. She obediently squatted beside Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao reached his hand towards Situ Jianying. Situ Jianying did not dare to make a sound. She looked at Zhou Hao with tearful eyes, and her eyes were filled with pleading. Zhou Hao did not restrain himself. He even went close to her ear and said, "That foreigner might want to make an illegal deal with someone. You must not make a sound. Otherwise, it is hard to guarantee that he will not kill us to silence us." As he spoke, another man walked in. He was a man in his 30s with a baldy in his hand. He also had a sports bag in his hand. When he saw Foreigner, he smiled and said, "Peter, you are really punctual. People in China like to be late. Do you know how long I have been waiting for you?" Foreigner, who was called Peter, said in broken Mandarin. He looked impatient. The baldy shrugged. "You brought the money, right?" Peter snorted and opened the zipper of the red, white, and blue bag. The baldy looked inside and nodded. He handed the sports bag to Peter. Peter took the bag and unzipped it. He took out a bag of white powder from the bag. Zhou Hao and Situ Jianying, who were hiding behind the garbage bin, were stunned. These two were really making an illegal deal. The white powder could also be drugs. Zhou Hao could not be bothered to violate Situ Jianying anymore. He even pulled down her clothes to cover her chest. His face was solemn because he saw a lump on the baldy's waist. It was very likely a gun. At this time, the baldy said, "This time you want so many goods. I prepared for a long time before gathering them. It's a huge risk. I know that in China, selling more than 50 grams of heroin will result in a shot." Peter weighed the bag in his hand. "The greater the risk, the greater the benefit. What I'm most concerned about right now is whether you will use fake goods to trick me." "What are you saying? People in China are the most honest," Baldy said with a smile. However, what he did next shocked Zhou Hao and Situ Jianying. The baldy took advantage of Peter looking at the things in his backpack and quickly took out a gun from his waist. It aimed at Peter's stomach and shot twice. The baldy's pistol was equipped with a silencer, so Zhou Hao could only hear two soft sounds. Peter did not even have time to say anything before he softly fell to the ground. The baldy blew the muzzle of the gun. "I indeed did not use fake goods to fool you, but this is already meaningless to you. He is too sinister," Zhou Hao thought to himself. Situ Jianying, on the other hand, was frightened when she saw the sudden murder. Her legs went weak and she fell to the ground. When she touched the garbage bin in front of her, a noise came from the garbage bin. "Who is there?" Just as the baldy was about to pick up Peter's red, white, and blue bag, he heard a sound coming from the other side. He immediately pointed the gun there. Zhou Hao gave Situ Jianying a fierce look. Situ Jianying also knew that she had caused a huge disaster, so she trembled and did not dare to make a sound. At this time, the baldy had already seen Zhou Hao and Situ Jianying hiding behind the rubbish bin. It cursed, "Be ****starred." Zhou Hao saw Baldy's index finger pull the trigger of the gun. It seemed like he had already decided to kill the two of them to silence them. The muzzle of the gun was aimed at Situ Jianying, who was in front of Zhou Hao. He could see a spark on the muzzle of the gun. Then, the bullet shot out from the muzzle and flew towards Situ Jianying in a straight line. He could even see the air ripples caused by the rotation of the bullet. However, even though Zhou Hao could see the bullet, he only had time to turn around and block in front of Situ Jianying. Then a burning pain came from his shoulder. Zhou Hao knew he had been shot. Zhou Hao sucked in a breath of cold air because of the pain. He felt that his entire left arm had become numb. However, he had no time to care about the pain. He turned around to look at the baldy, and sure enough, he saw that he was about to shoot a second time. However, how could Zhou Hao allow him to succeed? He kicked the ground with his 2 feet and pushed his body backwards. He heavily crashed into the baldy and pressed him against the wall behind him. "Let go of me!" The baldy angrily shouted, but Zhou Hao ignored it. He bent his right arm and used his elbow to hit the baldy's stomach. He was in great pain. The baldy squatted down. Zhou Hao also took the opportunity to turn around and kick the gun in his hand. He kicked the gun away. "How dare you hit me? I'll beat you to death." Zhou Hao raised his knee and hit the baldy's face. The huge force immediately made him dizzy. Situ Jianying, who was behind, was stunned by this series of events. After a long while, she realized that she was not dead and remembered that it was Zhou Hao who protected her just now. He had blocked the fatal bullet. She looked up at Zhou Hao, who was still beating up the baldy. Sure enough, she saw that there was a wound on his left shoulder blade. Blood was gushing out, dyeing his clothes red. How can he help me block the bullets? Situ Jianying kept repeating this sentence in her mind. At this time, Zhou Hao turned around to look at Situ Jianying. Seeing her confused look, he shouted loudly, "What are you still standing there for? Quickly give me that gun." Situ Jianying immediately came back to her senses and subconsciously obeyed Zhou Hao's words. She quickly picked up the gun that Zhou Hao kicked off and gave it to him. Situ Jianying looked at the shocking wound on his left shoulder and asked timidly, "Are you all right? Do you feel pain?" "Cut the crap," Zhou Hao said in a bad mood. Then he pointed his gun at the baldy's temple with his right hand and shouted, "Tell me, are you a drug dealer?" The baldy had been beaten black and blue by Zhou Hao at this time. It hated Zhou Hao very much and said vaguely, "You are the drug dealer." Zhou Hao kicked him again when he heard that. "Stand up." Then, he took the baldy to the corpse of foreigner, who was called Peter. He looked at the open bag. There were stacks of cash inside, and it was worth more than $100,000. There were more than 100,000 stacks, and it was estimated to be more than $100,000. This should be the money Peter used to buy drugs. Seeing the US dollars worth more than $1 million, a thought suddenly arose in Zhou Hao's heart. He looked at Peter's corpse and said to the baldy, "I didn't want to kill you at first, but now, I can only apologize to you." The baldy immediately guessed that Zhou Hao wanted to kill him and accepted the 100,000 USD. Just as he was about to fight with his life on the line, he suddenly felt an explosion in his head. Then, he lost consciousness and softly fell to the ground. He looked at the bullet hole on the baldy's forehead that was continuously bleeding. Zhou Hao was a little stunned. This was the first time he had killed someone, and it was also because of money. This feeling was very strange. It was both evil and fear. There was also a trace of inexplicable excitement. However, this baldy was a drug dealer who killed without batting an eye. Just now, he and Situ Jianying almost died under his gun. Therefore, the guilt in Zhou Hao's heart did not last long. He threw away the pistol and picked up the bag with the US dollar to look around. Then he walked to the garbage bin and put the bag inside and covered it with garbage. Situ Jianying saw Zhou Hao's series of actions and guessed that Zhou Hao was going to take the money. But she did not say anything and did not stop Zhou Hao. Furthermore, she firmly believed that Zhou Hao would not kill her to silence her. She only thought in her heart, since he can block bullets for me, he definitely will not hurt me. After Zhou Hao finished all of this, he said to Situ Jianying, "You will not tell others, right?" Situ Jianying nodded very seriously. "I won't tell anyone." Zhou Hao looked at Situ Jianying's sincere eyes and nodded slightly. He originally thought that Situ Jianying would not help him when he had molested Situ Jianying previously. However, his intuition told him that Situ Jianying would not tell anyone else. After he relaxed, the gunshot wound on his shoulder started to hurt intensely again. Situ Jianying immediately took out a white handkerchief from her pocket and pressed it on Zhou Hao's wound. She asked softly, "Are you all right?" Her tone was very gentle. "I won't die." Zhou Hao gritted his teeth and said, "Quickly go and call your father. Tell him that you have encountered a drug dealer." He turned around and looked at the baldy and Peter's corpse. "Just tell him that the two of them had a dispute because of the transaction. That Peter was killed by the baldy first, and then the baldy found us. He wanted to kill us, but I stopped him. I killed him in the fight." He emphasized to Situ Jianying, "You must not mention that money." Situ Jianying nodded. "I know what to say, but you are injured. I will send you to the hospital first." "It's okay. You can go and call your father first." Zhou Hao waved his hand. "I'm afraid those drugs weigh about 2 or 3 kilograms. It will be very good for your father to solve such a drug deal." Go. Seeing Zhou Hao say so, Situ Jianying could only put him down and go outside to make a call. Zhou Hao leaned against the wall and sat down. At this time, the injury on his back was no longer that painful. He looked at the Baldy and Peter's corpse, but in his heart, he was thinking about how to use the money. More than $100,000 was equivalent to more than 1 million renminbi. At this time, it was a huge sum of money. Zhou Hao decided to invest all of them into the stock market and make a huge profit before the stock market plummeted in December. The 8,000 yuan he had invested previously was not true, and his profits were limited. Now that he had this million yuan, his profits would be much greater. Smelling the scent of blood that was slowly spreading in the air, Zhou Hao laughed. People die of wealth. Not long after, Zhou Hao heard an ear-piercing alarm outside. Situ Jianying and more than 10 policemen in uniforms and plainclothes walked in. Zhou Hao also noticed that the person beside Situ Jianying was a middle-aged man who was not even 40 years old and had a heroic spirit. He must be Situ Jianying's father, and he was also the police chief. Situ Jianying stopped and ran to Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao, quick, I asked the ambulance to come too. Let's go to the hospital now. Her father, Situ Li, also came over and said to Zhou Hao with gratitude, Jianying has told me everything. I really have to thank you. If it wasn't for you, Jianying would be in danger. Also, you are very brave. Our Public Security Bureau will reward you. As he spoke, he patted Zhou Hao's shoulder. After being patted by Situ Li, Zhou Hao's facial features immediately twisted from the pain. Situ Jianying also glared at Situ Li reproachfully. Dad, he's injured. How can you pat him like this? She helped Zhou Hao up. Situ Li laughed awkwardly. It could be seen that he doted on his daughter very much. At that moment, the policeman in charge of the inspection shouted at Situ Li, Bureau Chief, these are all heroin. I'm afraid they weigh more than 3 kilograms. Situ Li was also very excited when he heard that. This was already considered a major drug transaction case. He would be praised by his superiors this time. So he was even more grateful to Zhou Hao. He quickly got someone to help Zhou Hao to the ambulance outside the alley, and Situ Jianying naturally went with him. Before he left, Zhou Hao looked at the garbage bin. He only hoped that the police would not check the place. 3. When he arrived at the military hospital in Xiang City, an old military doctor took out a bullet for Zhou Hao. At the same time, he said to Zhou Hao, who was lying on the surgical bed, your bones are very hard. This bullet is very powerful. Usually, it can penetrate the human body. This time, it is stuck on your shoulder blade. Even your lungs are not injured. You only need to rest for a few days. Also, how did you train? You're only so young and you have such strong muscles. The old military doctor looked at Zhou Hao's naked upper body and praised his tough muscles. Zhou Hao snorted twice as an answer. He knew that his body was getting stronger and stronger. After bandaging the wound, Zhou Hao was sent to the special care unit. Situ Li and Situ Jianying were already waiting there. There were also 2 middle-aged men with their stomachs propped up. It was obvious that they were the leaders of the city. These 2 are the secretary of the Municipal Party Committee and mayor of Xiang City. Situ Li introduced them to Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao was slightly shocked. He did not expect them to call the secretary of the Municipal Party Committee and the mayor over this time. He quickly said, hello, you did well this time. You helped our Xiang City break a drug deal. The secretary of the Municipal Party Committee said to Zhou Hao, the city intends to publicize your deeds and build a positive image for the people. The mayor also said, that's right. That Baldy is a drug dealer that has been wanted in the country for a long time. That foreigner belongs to a foreign drug trafficking group. This time, he came to China to buy drugs through the Baldy. You've really helped us a lot this time. As citizens of Xiang City, we naturally have to protect the peace and stability of Xiang City. Even if it's the other people of Xiang City, I believe they will do the same thing as me. Zhou Hao had dealt with government officials in Yellowstone Group before, so he was very good at chatting with them. However, in Situ Li and the others' eyes, a 14-year-old young man was so mature. His future achievements would definitely be extraordinary. They all looked at him with appreciation. Situ Jianying was also very happy to see Zhou Hao being so favored by Situ Li and the city leaders. She looked at Zhou Hao with praise in her eyes. You can rest and recuperate here. The city will be in charge of the medical expenses. You don't have to worry about it. Before the secretary of the Municipal Party Committee left, he said, also, we have informed your family. As soon as he finished speaking, a few figures hurriedly walked in. Those people were Yin Tong, Wang Shijuan and Lu Shiping. Yin Tong and Wang Shijuan, who had just returned home, were completely shocked when they heard that Zhou Hao had been shot and hospitalized. Yin Tong almost fainted on the spot. Then, he received a call from the city government saying that Zhou was fine. Only then did he heave a sigh of relief and rushed back to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, Wang Shijuan thought to herself, wasn't Zhou with Situ Jianying? How did she suddenly get shot and hospitalized? Could it be that Situ Jianying caused her men to injure Zhou? In this short journey, her heart was filled with worry. Her worry for Zhou was not one bit weaker. Xiaohao, are you all right? Seeing Zhou lying on the sickbed with a pale face, Yin Tong immediately teared up. As for Wang Shijuan, who was standing beside the bed, her jade hands were tightly holding onto Zhou's sleeves. Her sparkling tears kept on rolling down her face, but she bit her lips to prevent herself from crying. However, the sad look in her eyes made Zhou's heart ache. Mom, Shijuan, don't cry, I'm fine. The doctor said that you just need to rest for a few days. Zhou smiled as he comforted his mother and Wang Shijuan. At the same time, he apologized to Lu Shiping. Auntie Lu, I'm sorry, I've troubled you. How many years has it been? Why are you saying these words? Lu Shiping only smiled calmly. At this time, Siduli and the two city leaders comforted Yin Tong and told them of her heroic deeds. And at this time, the old military doctor who had helped Zhou retrieve the bullets also came over and personally guaranteed that within a week, Zhou would be able to leave the hospital. Only then did Yin Tong heave a sigh of relief. After that, Yin Tong and Lu Shiping followed the old army doctor out to complete the procedures for the hospital. Situli and the two leaders consoled Zhou for a while before they also left. Zhou, Wang Shijuan and the others were the only ones left in the spacious intensive care unit. Wang Shijuan sat on the bedside and caressed Zhou's forehead in pain. Does it still hurt? It won't hurt to see you. Zhou grabbed her hand and laughed. You're still in the mood to joke at this time. Wang Shijuan was annoyed, but she could not hold back her tears. Zhou immediately raised his hand to wipe her tears. Don't cry, don't cry. I really don't feel pain anymore. That old doctor also said that this isn't some serious injury. It'll be fine after a few days of recuperation. Seeing Zhou and Wang Shijuan being so intimate, Situ Jianying felt sour in her heart, but she did not dare to disturb them. And Wang Shijuan also noticed the somewhat awkward Situ Jianying. So she asked Zhou, what happened at that time? Why did we suddenly run into a drug dealer? After Situ Jianying heard this, she remembered the sacred ground in front of her chest getting trampled on unscrupulously by Zhou in the alley. On the sickbed, when Zhou saw her pink cheeks, he could not help but miss his comfortable hand, and unconsciously looked at his breasts. It's all my fault. Zhou was shot because he wanted to protect me, Situ Jianying said. Wang Shijuan immediately looked at Zhou upon hearing his voice, while Zhou secretly cursed at him in his heart. Isn't it equivalent to telling Shijuan what you and I have? Indeed, when Wang Shijuan heard that Zhou was helping him block the bullet, she felt extremely upset. She was a little jealous, but also a little envious of Situ Jianying. And the gaze she used to look at Zhou also gradually became bitter. Zhou secretly complained, and then deliberately revealed a cold expression. At that time, that drug dealer wanted to kill us to silence everyone. As a man, of course I couldn't abandon her and run away. I don't want to see her get injured, so I had no choice but to eat my own bullets. He grabbed Wang Shijuan's hand and stared at her affectionately. Shijuan, if that was you at that time, let alone blocking a bullet, even if I had to die for you. Wang Shijuan was only 14 years old. How could she have heard of such emotional words? She was immediately moved to tears from Zhou. At the same time, he felt ashamed of his jealousy. He blamed himself for being so stingy. On the other hand, when Situ Jianying heard what Zhou had said to him, she was both envious and jealous. Shijuan, I'm thirsty. Zhou said this. Wang Shijuan picked up the kettle on the bedside table, but it was empty. So he said to Zhou, I'll go out and pour some hot water for you. After that, he carried the kettle and walked out. Only Zhou and Situ Jianying were left in the ward. Situ Jianying stood there with her head lowered, not daring to speak to Zhou. Come here. Zhou suddenly shouted. Situ Jianying didn't say anything and obediently walked to the window, and then heard Zhou say, the way you said it just now, you did it to provoke me and Shijuan, right? Situ Jianying trembled and immediately shook her head. No, no. Zhou snorted. Seeing Situ Jianying's cowardly look, he would always have the desire of torturing her, and wanted to torture her ruthlessly. Come, sit here. He pointed to the side of the bed, made Situ Jianying sit beside him, and then reached out his right hand to grab her. Situ Jianying cried out in alarm, but didn't resist Zhou like before. Instead, she obediently sat there and allowed her to flirt with him. Zhou Hao wanted to take off her clothes, but as his left hand was injured and was unable to do anything, he said to Situ Jianying, "Take off her clothes." Situ Jianying was surprisingly gentle as she obediently lifted up her shirt, which Zhou Hao shouted in his heart as he exerted even more force in his hands. Actually, Situ Jianying was not bad-looking. Her pair of narrow and long phoenix eyes were filled with electricity. Although she was only 14 years old, her face did not have the youthful and innocent look that Wang Shijuan had. "Have you been touched by anyone else besides me?" Zhou Hao asked her. Situ Jianying shook her head. "No, you're the only one who has touched it." Zhou Hao was surprised hearing this. Could it be that his guess was wrong? So he continued to ask, "Are you still going to—" "A woman?" "Yes." Situ Jianying bit her lips and nodded very, very lightly. "Humph." Zhou Hao laughed with satisfaction, then started to play with his fingers. "Have you been drinking milk and eating papaya since you were young?" Situ Jianying endured the intense stimulation. "No, I don't like drinking milk. I don't know why." There was a hint of pride in her words. She was born with such a figure. It was called a natural beauty. In the future, other than me, no other men are allowed to touch you. Do you understand? Zhou Hao shouted to Situ Jianying softly. Situ Jianying nodded obediently. "That won't happen. I'll only let you touch it. Also, don't hang around with Wen Shaoqiang and the others anymore." Zhou Hao scratched his head and said, "Got it, I'll listen to you." Situ Jianying replied softly, "As long as you listen obediently, I will properly love you. Do you understand?" "Yes, yes." Situ Jianying smiled and nodded, and then moved in front of Zhou Hao like a cat asking for rewards. Zhou Hao understood what she meant and lightly kissed her lips as a reward. 0. She stuck out her tongue and licked her lips. Her actions were very captivating, causing Zhou Hao to move stupidly. Just as he was about to taste her fragrant lips, he heard footsteps coming from outside. He immediately pulled down Situ Jianying's clothes to cover her chest. At the same time, he said to her, "Go back to that alley later and take that bag of money back to hide. Don't let your dad and the others know about it." "Even Wang Shijuan cannot be told?" Situ Jianying asked. Zhou Hao thought that it would be best to not let Wang Shijuan know about these things, so as to prevent her from worrying too much. She nodded. "I can't even tell Shijuan about this." "Yes." Situ Jianying happily agreed, thinking that this was her and Zhou Hao's secret, a secret that even Wang Shijuan couldn't compare to. The door was pushed open, and not only did Wang Shijuan come in, Yin Tong, Lu Shiping, and Situ Li also came in. Situ Li was even continuously thanking Yin Tong, praising her for having such a good son. "Comrade Little Zhou, this time you not only helped us solve a big crime, but also saved my Jianyin." Situ Li came to the bedside and handed him an envelope. "The bureau plans to reward you 5,000 yuan. Other than this, here is 10,000 yuan. "No, no." Yin Tong immediately rejected. "Saving people is normal. How can I let you pay?" That's right. Saving people is something that we should do. I just can't take the money," Zhou Hao said. This time, he already received over $100,000, and because he saved Situ Jianying, he started a relationship with Situ Li, the chief of public security. This so-called debt of money is easy to repay but hard to repay. How could Zhou Hao casually let Situ Li repay this favor just for this 10,000 yuan? Under Zhou Hao's and Yin Tong's perseverance, Situ Li still managed to retract those 10,000 pieces in the end. At the same time, he patted his chest and said, "Xiao Hao, if your family has any difficult matters in the future, feel free to come and find Uncle Situ." When it comes to Xiang City, Uncle Situ feels that he should be able to say a few words. Seeing that he had achieved his goal, Zhou Hao was very happy in his heart. It was already late in the night, so Situ Li also wanted to leave to deal with the poison case, accompanied by Situ Jianying. Before leaving, Situ Jianying gave Zhou Hao a signal with her eyes, indicating that she would take care of the matter that had given him. Originally, Yin Tong wanted to accompany Zhou Hao throughout the night, but Zhou Hao couldn't bear for his mother to be so hard-working, so she persuaded her and Wang Shijuan to go home. Since it was Sunday, and everyone was free, Yin Tong and Wang Shijuan decided to come back tomorrow. On the other hand, Yin Tong also wanted to make some blood and qi replenishing soup for Zhou Hao. Putting aside the internal strife between Zhao Yuqin and Situ Jianying, Zhou Hao stayed in the hospital for 3 days and immediately applied to leave the hospital. On one hand, Zhou Hao's recovery ability was really shocking. On the other hand, the old military doctor who was said to have participated in the self-defense war was very interested in Zhou Hao's health. Zhou Hao was deeply afraid that he would become an experimental subject of the old military doctor. So after confirming that his body was fine, Zhou Hao was discharged early. The Xiang City Public Security Bureau really did as Sidu Li said, rewarded Zhou Hao with 5,000 yuan, and also gave Zhou Hao a banner. Zhou Hao left 1,000 yuan behind, and he gave the rest of the money to Yen Tong. At the same time, the shares Zhou Hao had Zhao Yuqin by increased by more than 30% within 2 days. The 150,000 US dollars that Zhou Hao had invested was now 200,000. Zhou Hao knew that before mid-December, the shares would continue to rise, and the money he invested would quickly double. Zhou Hao thought that he must accumulate enough funds as soon as possible, because Zhou Hao's biggest goal at the moment was the upcoming financial storm of Asia in 1997. Following Soros and the other speculators, Zhou Hao believed that he would gain a lot. After being discharged from the hospital, Zhou Hao immediately went back to school, because he really missed Li Ruolin. Our hero is back. Once Zhou Hao entered the classroom, the students all gathered around him. They either greeted Zhou Hao for his injuries, or were curious about Zhou Hao's bravery in fighting drug dealers. In the past 2 days, through the news report from Xiang City television station and the intentional publicity from Yining Middle School, Zhou Hao's positive image had been widely spread in the school. The students of the second-year class also felt very proud. They often flaunted to the people from other classes, "You know that Zhou Hao who killed the drug dealer, right? That's my classmate. I played very well with Zhou Hao." Zhou Hao finally managed to get out of the crowd. When he returned to his seat, Gao Jingyi, who was in front of him, turned around and said to Zhou Hao, "I see that you are so energetic. You should be fine, right?" Zhou Hao looked at Gao Jingyi's gentle smile and her 2 shallow dimples. His heart beat a little faster and he also smiled and said, "I'm fine. Thank you for your concern." In fact, the most beautiful women in Yining Middle School were Gao Jingyi and Li Ruolin. However, Gao Jingyi's character was relatively cold. Other than Luo Hui, who was sitting at the same table as her, she did not have any other good friends. "My dad praised you a few times," Gao Jingyi said. "My dad said that drug dealer is from a drug trafficking group in Yunnan. He was wanted for a long time but was unable to catch him. He did not expect that he would die in your hands in the end." "Your dad?" "My dad went to the hospital to see you the day before yesterday," said Wang Yao. Gao Jingyi curled her lips. She was very dissatisfied with Zhou Hao's ignorance. "My dad is your Mayor Gao." "Mayor Gao?" Zhou Hao was really surprised when he heard that. "So Mayor Gao is your dad?" Gao Jingyi slightly glared at Zhou Hao, as if to say that you only know now. Zhou Hao thought in his heart, among the girls he knew, other than Wang Shijuan, there was no other ordinary family background. The most prominent one was Zhao Yuqin. Zhao Yuqin's father was a member of the central government, and Zhao Yuqin's brother was the commander of the military. As for Situ Jianying, who used to run amok in the number 2 senior high school, her background was the simplest. Gao Jingyi heard from her father at home that Zhou Hao was fighting with that vicious drug dealer. When Zhou Hao killed that drug dealer in the end, she was still very shocked in her heart. Because in Gao Jingyi's impression, besides his good grades, Zhou Hao was just a lonely and obscure student. Gao Jingyi did not know why he suddenly became so brave. He even killed people. Now, Gao Jingyi looked at Zhou Hao, who was wearing the school uniform. It was hard for her to imagine how Zhou Hao defeated the drug dealer at that time. "Don't treat me like a panda, okay?" Zhou Hao looked at Gao Jingyi's curious and puzzled eyes. He suddenly felt a little unnatural. "If you look at me like that, others will think that you like me?" When Gao Jingyi heard Zhou Hao's words, she was very speechless. "Zhou Hao, can you not be so narcissistic?" When Gao Jingyi scolded him, her face was not as cold as before. At this time, Zhou Hao saw Lu Shichao playing guessing cards with Luo Hui, who was in front of him. Zhou Hao saw Luo Hui pull out a random card from a stack of poker cards and let Lu Shichao guess. If Lu Shichao guessed correctly, he could hit Luo Hui. On the contrary, Lu Shichao would be hit by Luo Hui. Luo Hui knocked on Lu Shichao's forehead more than 10 times in a row. Finally, Lu Shichao said to Zhou Hao with a bitter face, "Zhou Hao, if you're my brother, you can save me." Luo Hui immediately turned to Zhou Hao and said, "All right, but if you guess that you have lost, you will have to be beaten by Gao Jingyi." Zhou Hao heard the sound and looked towards Gao Jingyi. Gao Jingyi immediately clenched her fist. "What are you looking at? Don't expect me to be lenient." Zhou Hao could only laugh. "What if I guess correctly? Can I also hit Gao Jingyi?" Luo Hui and Gao Jingyi looked at each other, and Gao Jingyi nodded her head. "Yes." So Luo Hui excitedly washed the cards, and then took out a card from the middle with her back facing Zhou Hao. "Okay, guess." Zhou Hao stared at the back of the card. A subtle feeling suddenly appeared in his heart. Zhou Hao opened his mouth and said, "This is the Plum Blossom Tin." Luo Hui and Gao Jingyi's expressions changed, while Lu Shichao impatiently grabbed the poker card in Luo Hui's hand and took a look. It was indeed the Plum Blossom Tin. Lu Shichao immediately said excitedly. Zhou Hao guessed correctly. Luo Hui and Gao Jingyi, you guys lost. Luo Hui and Gao Jingyi also did not expect Zhou Hao to guess correctly. Luo Hui shook her head repeatedly. This round does not count. Let's do it again. Luo Hui widened her eyes and stared at Zhou Hao. Another round. Do you dare? Zhou Hao shrugged his shoulders. Luo Hui washed the cards again and pulled out another card from the middle. All right, guess again. Zhou Hao focused again on the back of the poker card. That feeling appeared in his heart again. Is it the J of Hearts? Luo Hui and Gao Jingyi were really stunned this time. Gao Jingyi looked at Zhou Hao in surprise. How did you guess? Luo Hui also turned the poker cards over. Sure enough, it was a black peach J. Zhou Hao looked at the black peach jack. He was also very shocked in his heart. Zhou Hao had previously thought that his intuition was very accurate, but he did not think that it would be this sharp. Zhou Hao thought to himself, he did not have such a powerful intuition in the past. Could it be that this is also the special ability? Zhou Hao said to Luo Hui and Gao Jingyi, let's do it again. I don't know how I guessed it. This time Gao Jingyi personally washed the cards. Then she took out a card and said to Zhou Hao, guess? Zhou Hao looked at the poker card and guessed that it was a square K in his heart, but Zhou Hao deliberately said, this card is a red peach A. Gao Jingyi smiled and turned the card over. You guessed wrong? But that poker card was actually a square K. This is too mysterious. Zhou Hao shouted in his heart. However, Zhou Hao did not show any signs of surprise on his face. Instead, he smiled at Gao Jingyi and said, it seems that what happened just now was a coincidence. Gao Jingyi smiled and said, since you lost this time, then we are even before. You don't need to hit me, and I don't need to hit you. Gao Jingyi didn't wait for Zhou Hao to speak after she finished speaking. She turned around and went to prepare for class. At this time, Zhou Hao was not in the mood to joke with Gao Jingyi. He secretly thought about this super strong intuition. Was it the special ability or not? In order to test, Zhou Hao borrowed the card from Luo Hui. After Zhou Hao messed up the card, he focused on the back of the card at the top. He was guessing what card it was, and then he turned it over to look at the front of the card. In the end, Zhou Hao tried dozens of times, but only 3 or 4 times were wrong. Zhou Hao's intuition was more than 90% accurate. 5. This is amazing, Zhou Hao thought. However, this was also beneficial and harmless to Zhou Hao. At least in the future, he would encounter earthquakes or something like that. He could already sense it beforehand. His life would only have one more layer of protection. Not long after, the teacher arrived. Zhou Hao also hurriedly put away his poker cards and listened attentively to the lecture. In the afternoon after school, Li Rulin found Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao, during these 2 days when you are not at school, the school is preparing to let the junior high school also carry out night studies. Do you want to participate? Only then did Zhou Hao remember that in his previous life, the school would probably let the middle school take part in night training at this time. At that time, Zhou Hao also participated in the school for the sake of studying. But now, to Zhou Hao, middle school and even university knowledge were no longer difficult, and late school education was no longer necessary. Zhou Hao did not want to waste his time on studying at night. Therefore, Zhou Hao said, Teacher Li, I don't want to take part in this late school. Then I won't force you, Li Rulin said, but I hope you can come back to school tonight. I want to help you with the lessons for the past 2 days tonight. Are you in the classroom? Li Rulin shook her head. It will affect other students in the class. Go to the office and look for me. I am on duty there. So, Zhou Hao returned to school after dinner at home. Zhou Hao did not go to the classroom. He went straight to the English research room to find Li Rulin. It was already 7 o'clock in the evening when Zhou Hao arrived. Some of the other teachers went home, while others went to the class to preside over the night classes. Li Rulin was the only one sitting in the study room with more than 10 desks. Teacher Li, have you eaten yet? Zhou Hao asked as he sat beside Li Rulin. I have already eaten. Thank you for your concern. Li Rulin pulled her hair to the side of her hair. Her gentle face was very charming. In the past 2 days, the other teachers have been focusing on revision. Only I, the English subject, have opened a new class. The content isn't much either. As Li Rulin spoke, she took out the textbooks and the notebooks she used to prepare for the class and began to tutor Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao and Li Rulin sat in front of the desk and were very close to each other. The fragrance of the flower dew on Li Rulin's body would enter Zhou Hao's nose from time to time, mixed with Li Rulin's body fragrance. This made him feel relaxed and relaxed. Zhou Hao did not listen to the contents of Li Rulin's knowledge at all. His mind was full of Li Rulin. At this distance, Zhou Hao could even see the fine fur on Li Rulin's face and the snow-white skin under her neck. Li Rulin did not notice Zhou Hao's little movements at all. She diligently helped Zhou Hao tutor. It wasn't until the bell rang that the first period of the night was over that Zhou Hao came back to his senses from Li Ruolin's delicate fragrance. He really had a feeling of happiness that he didn't know how much time had passed. Li Ruolin looked at her watch and said to Zhou Hao, "You go out for a walk first. I'll go to the classroom to see them. I'll come back here when the second period of night repairs starts." Zhou Hao nodded and walked out of the research room reluctantly. But he thought that he could come over and spend some time alone with Li Ruolin later, so he was satisfied. He left the office building and walked towards the field over there. In the deep night sky, a crescent moon hung on it. The bright white light scattered down, illuminating the sand on the field. At this time, Ening Middle School was building an indoor gymnasium on the empty field to the east of the sports field. It was already late at night, and those workers had already gotten off work. The gymnasium that was surrounded by the net and the bamboo raft looked like a huge monster that was ready to devour people under the night sky. When Zhou Hao passed by, he suddenly saw a few figures flash past the pitch-black gymnasium. There was also the sound of bricks falling to the ground. Zhou Hao didn't really care. He thought that it was probably because there were still workers in the gymnasium. Just as he was about to leave, he had a strong feeling in his heart, as if something was about to happen. Zhou Hao knew that his intuition was very accurate now. This kind of feeling would not appear out of nowhere. And his intuition this time should be related to the figure in the gymnasium just now. Thus, Zhou Hao agilely crossed the sports field's wall and quietly walked into the unfinished gymnasium. The gymnasium was very dark. Coupled with the fact that there was a net surrounding it, not even moonlight could shine in. However, Zhou Hao's eyesight was currently amazing. Although he could not see things at night like those inner force experts in novels, he could still basically see everything around him. This gymnasium only had a general framework, not even walls. The ground was full of bumps and hollows, and there were piles of turning heads and cement around. Zhou Hao carefully looked around. Although the gymnasium only had one floor, the area was very large. Moreover, there were quite a number of high-piled bricks around, blocking Zhou Hao's line of sight. A suppressed voice came from the front. Fortunately, the surroundings were quiet, otherwise Zhou Hao wouldn't have heard it. Zhou Hao looked towards the source of the sound. It was a row of bricks. He walked over quietly with light steps. When he got closer, there were two figures with their waists bent. He could not see their faces or what they were doing. Zhou Hao bypassed the row of bricks and saw the situation clearly. At the same time, he was also furious. Those were two men. Judging from their clothes, they should be the construction workers here. Even though the man in front blocked Zhou Hao's line of sight, he could still see the figure of a girl struggling on the ground. She was wearing the uniform of Ening Middle School. One of the men held the girl's hands firmly and covered her mouth. The sound Zhou Hao heard just now was from the girl who was pressed on the ground. The other man crazily tore at her clothes. Zhou Hao also saw her white and flat belly. She was indeed a girl. These two workers were clearly going to rape the girls from Ening Middle School. Zhou Hao cursed in his heart. Before he reincarnated, he had seen a piece of news that said a female university student had finished school at night. When he passed by a construction site, he was raped by 4 migrant workers there. The female university student had also committed suicide out of embarrassment and shame. Zhou Hao did not expect such a thing to happen in Ening Middle School. He picked up a brick and quietly walked over. When he arrived behind the worker in front of him, the worker did not notice him at all. Zhou Hao did not hesitate either. He raised the brick and hit the back of the worker's head hard. This was just an ordinary yellow brick. It was relatively fragile. Under the fierce impact, the yellow brick broke into 2 pieces. The worker did not make a sound and fell directly on the girl's body. The worker who held the girl down saw that his partner had fallen, and he didn't even have time to react. Zhou Hao punched him in the chin and sent him flying with his back. He fell to the ground facing downwards, but he had already fainted. "Help!" The girl on the ground cried out in a sobbing voice. She wanted to push away the worker who fainted on her body, but because she was too frightened, she lost all her strength. She tried a few times but failed. "Don't worry, she's fine now." Zhou Hao tried to make his voice as gentle as possible to avoid scaring the girl. At the same time, she pulled the unconscious worker away. It was also at this moment that he saw the appearance of this unlucky girl. That person was actually Gao Jingyi. Gao Jingyi's hair was messy, her face was overflowing with tears, and her entire body was trembling. Her school uniform jacket was torn off, and her shirt was also torn apart. Only a pink undergarment was left on her upper body, covering her chest. Her exposed skin was snow white, but it was only covered with some dust and looked a little ugly. Zhou Hao looked at her pants and saw that her school uniform pants were still intact. It seemed that these 2 thugs had just started. He also felt slightly relieved in his heart. Gao Jingyi was clearly frightened. For a moment, she could not recognize Zhou Hao. She only kept shouting, "Help!" Zhou Hao could not bear to see her, who had always been aloof, in such a sorry state. He helped Gao Jingyi up and took off his coat and put it on her. He comforted her. "Gao Jingyi, it's fine now." Seeing that Gao Jingyi was still in a daze, Zhou Hao patted her face a few times, not lightly or heavily. At the same time, he called out, "Gao Jingyi! Gao Jingyi!" After a while, Gao Jingyi finally woke up. She exclaimed. When she saw Zhou Hao, she muttered, "Zhou Hao, great, you finally woke up." Zhou Hao heaved a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that Gao Jingyi would not be able to recover from the mental breakdown because of what happened just now. Gao Jingyi looked around and only confirmed her safety after seeing the two workers on the ground who did not know anything. She immediately threw herself into Zhou Hao's arms and burst into tears, venting all the fear and grievance in her heart. Zhou Hao gently patted her back and comforted her softly. "Cry out. You are fine now. Don't worry, you're fine now." After crying for a long time, Gao Jingyi looked up in embarrassment. Her face was mixed with tears and dust, like a cat with a flowery face. Zhou Hao wanted to help her wipe it, but he found that he didn't bring any tissues. So she said, "If you don't mind, just wipe your face on my clothes. Anyway, I usually use it to wipe my mucus." Gao Jingyi, who had just experienced such an unexpected event, was laughed out by Zhou Hao's words. "Who wants to use your clothes to wipe your mucus?" Although she said that, she still used the clothes Zhou Hao put on her to wipe her face. When she moved, the skin under her neck and lower abdomen were exposed to Zhou Hao. Zhou Hao thought, if the boys in school who like Gao Jingyi knew that I saw half of her naked body, they would probably hunt me down at all costs. Because the surroundings were very dark, Gao Jingyi did not notice Zhou Hao's gaze. Zhou Hao supported her and stood up. "Why were you caught by those two people here?" "I originally wanted to take the opportunity to go to the toilet after class, but as soon as I passed by, two people rushed over and caught me." Thinking of the situation just now, Gao Jingyi still had lingering fears. She thought that if Zhou Hao did not come over in time to save her, she was afraid that she would be ruined by these two workers. When she thought of this, she trembled with fear. At the same time, she couldn't help but peek at Zhou Hao. She suddenly felt that Zhou Hao's originally handsome face had become even more charming. Zhou Hao also said, "When I passed by just now, I saw a few figures flash past here, so I came in to take a look. Luckily, I came in time." His intuition was really accurate. Not only could he avoid danger, he could also save others. He looked at Gao Jingyi's tattered clothes. "You can't go back to the classroom like this. I'll take you to Teacher Li's place. Then you inform your father." "Right, what do you want to do with these two thugs? Do you want to hand them over to the police?" Speaking of these two workers who wanted to rape her, Gao Jingyi hated them to death. 1. She picked up a brick that was piled up beside her and wanted to throw it at them, but she saw the row of yellow bricks suddenly collapse in their direction. "Be careful." Zhou Hao immediately pulled Gao Jingyi over, and the collapsed bricks buried the two workers. Gao Jingyi's heart thumped when she saw this change. If it wasn't for Zhou Hao pulling her, she would have been injured right now. At this moment, she suddenly realized that she was leaning into Zhou Hao's arms. "I'm sorry." Zhou Hao quickly let go of her. "Don't worry." Gao Jingyi's face turned red. It was not obvious because of the dark environment. She remembered the feeling of leaning in Zhou Hao's arms. She thought to herself, Zhou Hao's chest was quite solid and warm. The two of them left the gymnasium and walked towards the office building. Since it was already the second period of late repair, there was no one on the sports field and the school road, saving Gao Jingyi from the awkwardness. With her usual proud and aloof image in school, if others knew that she had encountered this kind of thing, she would also not be able to stand the rumors. When she came to the English research room, Li Ruolin was still wondering why Zhou Hao was so late. But when she saw him holding Gao Jingyi, whose clothes were untidy, she was shocked. She also immediately went over to help support Gao Jingyi. "What's going on? What's wrong with the two of you?" She looked at Zhou Hao and Gao Jingyi suspiciously and could not help but guess. Could it be that Zhou Hao wanted to do something to the girl, but was met with strong resistance? Zhou Hao received Li Ruolin's suspicious gaze and felt wronged in his heart. The key was that he absolutely could not leave a bad impression in Li Ruolin's heart. So after helping Gao Jingyi sit down, he said to Li Ruolin, "Teacher, this has nothing to do with me." When Gao Jingyi told Li Ruolin about this, Li Ruolin suddenly realized and asked if Gao Jingyi was all right. As a woman, she naturally knew how much damage it would cause to a girl. "Thank you, Zhou Hao, otherwise, I would not be able to continue living in the future." Gao Jingyi looked at Zhou Hao with grateful eyes. Indeed, if the two of them had really succeeded, she would definitely not have tried to steal a life afterwards. Li Ruolin looked at Zhou Hao with a little admiration. I didn't expect you to be a hero again. In less than a week, Zhou Hao had first killed the ferocious drug dealer and then rescued Gao Jingyi today. Li Ruolin felt that although Zhou Hao was still a junior high student, his bravery was something many adults couldn't compare to. Immediately after, Li Ruolin informed the principal and also called her father. Very quickly, the principal and Gao Jingyi's father, Gao Holu, had arrived one after another. Seeing Gao Jingyi, Gao Holu ran over and hugged her. His face had a look of being terrified. My good daughter, are you all right? Gao Jingyi, on the other hand, was very calm. She had not cried since she left the gymnasium, and of all the people present, she was probably the only one Zhou Hao had seen crying. President Jane, how does your school